Welcome Waffle Bowl Hat.
Yeah, one spoon. One spoon. Oh, I can't decide if I want tea or if I want sarsaparilla first. I think I want tea. Also, I gotta pick the correct water to loop. Hold on. I didn't realize some of these were really short, and so hold on. Not this one. Oh, this one? Yeah, this one. This one's good. Let's loop this one. So, interactive fiction means it's a book, but with choices. There's no visual component to this, so I'm just going to be reading. The visual component is my adorable face. So you're going to be stuck with looking at me and these crazy toppings and then my adorable face. That's all we got. So basically, you can tune the visuals out and just listen to me read, um, because that's literally what I'm doing. Um, I'm I'm actually really excited for this. Uh, I am not gonna lie. I did debate if I actually wanted to stream today, but here we are. So here I am. Um, I was really stoked to play this. You should not get your Spotify playlist getting freaky on character.ai. Please do not. Also, I need to see this playlist. What the heck? This is absolutely not what this is. Um, we could do that at some point. A really cringy character AI thing. I'm okay with this. Uh, uh, that's gonna be another That's gonna be another I guess you'll have to. I'll set it as a channel point goal where we do a freaking character AI cringe fest or something. That'll be interesting. I think we could do that. I'd be okay with that. Freaking character AI is so stupid. I hate it now. And to think I used to like it, you know, and then it just got bad, man. It just got bad, and I was like not feeling it after that. And now they recently created two new models for people to use, but I think they nerfed one of them already, and people are mad about it. Every time I go to the subreddit, people are just mad about things. It's kind of funny because I I've I've seen the light, and I now use Silly Tavern, and Silly Tavern is honestly way better. Um, Although, admittedly, I'm kind of getting kind of tired of DeepSeek. I might change the model, and then it'll be really different. But we'll see. I'm getting tired of all the DeepSeek isms. Maybe I'll have to go back to ChatGPT or something. Ugh, but then that costs money. Ugh, I don't know. Um, if the LLMs are getting dumber, that's not great. Uh, are they getting dumber? I don't know. I have not really been doing too much in terms of my LLM research, so I don't know. I have to look up some more. There's some pretty good offshoots, I think, of like Mistral and stuff like that that are really popular. So we'll see. Oh, I didn't turn on stream closed captioner. I'm so glad I have that reminder on there. Let's turn that on. Boop. All right, now it's on, so we're good because I remembered. I like that it reminds me 5 minutes into stream to go turn it on. I guess I have a feeling that nobody's gonna show up tonight, so it's fine. It's fine. They're just gonna miss out on storyline is the problem. That's gonna be the awkward part about all of this. But it is what it is. Um, so it looks like Most of the major NPCs in this game have fixed genders. Two are gender selectable. I can choose the genders and pronouns for these characters, randomize them, or leave them at their default settings. Well, then, let's just use he, him pronouns for both characters. That's fine. You have an important summer question. Alright, shoot. Garen and Anon. Cool, alright. What's my favorite flavor of iced tea? Ooh, that's a good question. My favorite flavor of iced tea. Hold on, drinks tea while thinking. Um, honestly, mint iced tea slaps. If it's sweetened, oh my god, mint iced tea with a little bit of honey. Yo, it's so freaking refreshing. It's super cooling. It's really good for summer. I like that. But that's um, a rare thing to get. Most people don't normally offer mint tea, unfortunately. It's delicious. But if I don't have that, I will usually opt for a hibiscus tea because it's fruity. And then if I don't have that, then then I'm good with like a flavored black tea. Pretty much almost any flavor is good. That's like, raspberry, blackberry, peach. Ooh, iced Earl Grey is also really good. People sleep on that, but iced Earl Grey is delicious. I like that too. But I really like Earl Grey as a milk tea personally, so I'll drink that iced as a milk tea. It's delicious. Next. Okay, so this game uses two types of automatic checkpoints. Major checkpoints are set at the beginning of each chapter. Minor checkpoints are set throughout each chapter before events that have significant impacts on the game. It'll tell me which checkpoint notification is available. Your mom now keeps Iced Earl Grey on tap? Hey yo. You have a whole half gallon of it. It's it's probably delicious. Um, Next time you should have some with milk. It's delicious. Milk and a little bit of sweetener. Delicious. But also Earl Grey sweetened makes an excellent iced tea as well. I do like that. Um, that's nice. I'm glad your mother has moved away from plain black tea. I mean, nothing wrong with plain black tea, but plain black tea and sweet and low is not my fave. Mostly because of the sweet and low. My dad used to use sweet and low almost exclusively for his iced tea. And it was awful. I hated it. Hated the pink stuff. It's the worst. That's my least favorite sugar substitute. Okay, obviously I want to be notified about checkpoints. That's kind of important, just in case I need to like roll back. Oh, I can't. Technically, I shouldn't be able to roll back. So, but I still want to know anyway. It's fine. Okay, it's gonna let me know. Next. All right, here we go. We start off with a prologue. This will be fun. Okay. I'll scroll down slower then. Okay, I like that the spire is our first thing that we see. That's nice. Okay. A week before the Festival of Stories and the Pageant of Spirits, you find yourself down in Gigantea. No, Gigantea sounds better. Gigantea's docks, looking out past the harbor and its encircling guardian stones to the world sea that stretches to the endless horizon. If you are within Gigantea's sturdy towers right now, you wouldn't have such a view as this, but you'd also feel a lot less exposed as one of the few remaining human beings that exist in this world. Not to mention, you'd know you were safe, that you were protected by the high-rise city's glittering masonry, and provided for by the endless marvels of its manufactories, the last remnant technologies of the long ago age of stories, when human and God and spirit walked the world as one. But you're not inside. And, as always, being out here in the open raises all kinds of complex feelings. Security, because Gigantea is the only place in the entire world sea where humanity still thrives. Worry, because the gods and spirits that cast the world into the age of rot are out there somewhere, and they hold a grudge as old as all the ages. Discomfort, because it's strange to be so exposed without humanity's last few advantages at your beck and call. Longing, because you know the world is out there, even if it's irrevocably changed. You wish that you could change things back to the way they once were. As you contemplate the light on the endless waves of the world sea, which of these feelings is foremost in your mind? What a prologue! Okay, I cheated a little bit and I did read um the the reviews for this one. This one just came out. This is new, relatively new. Spire Surgency is relatively new in terms of the stories that came out on Choice of Games. But people are saying that the world building is excellent, but the plot is lacking. I'm curious to see what they mean by that. But admittedly, right now, strong start, huge, big, easy world building vibes. Um, I'm into it. I'm into it. I like it. It's good. Um, I suck at world building, so I can appreciate a good world when I see one. This one is a good world. Um, but now let me think about this here. So, if I'm one of the few remaining human beings that exist, and I'm outside and not inside, why am I outside? That's the next question. Um, being outside, I'm definitely. It's a toss up between worry and longing because honestly, I would worry. Because if you're a human versus a god and a spirit, those are three very different things. Um, I'm going to lean towards worry. Also, the age of rot. Don't love the sound of that. Okay. You can't help but think about the gods and spirits and how they might be out there, biding their time, waiting for vengeance. But that's not why you're out here right now. You're supposed to be delivering a freshly mixed pot of glue to the fishing fleet. It's not as though this is your first trip out here. You should be used to these feelings. In fact, most people of Gigantea have business that brings them to the edge of the waters on a regular basis, even if they do spend most of their lives within the safety and comfort of the island city's towering spires. All the same, looking down on that sea sends a shiver through your body, a chill that has nothing to do with the fingers of shadow that reach you from the guardian stones as the sun dips behind them. It's the way the water moves, you think, the way the late afternoon light shimmers across its ever-shifting surface. It seems alive, a boundless, formless creature with a will of its own. Just like always, the sight reminds you of the time you saw the spirit dancing through the swell of the waves, ethereal and strange, yet oddly human too. You were very young when it happened, but sometimes you still wake in the night and remember. Your palms sweaty, your breath coming fast and shallow, your heart pounding in your throat as you lie there, unable to forget what you saw that day.
Welcome Sapphire Awake.
I mean, seeing a spirit is not necessarily a bad thing. Not joy. Not joy. Not terror, but not joy. Not power. I guess it's this one. I guess it's longing is my answer here. Hello, Zeph. Oh, we have crush mates? Are we a Gith? Are we Gith Yankee? Um sorry. And once again, you find yourself reliving that long ago time. Back then, you were merely a child. Your teacher had brought you and your crush mates down on a special outing, all of you in your manufactory printed yellow and blue uniforms, with promises of seeing the fishing boats bring in a fresh catch. The boats were delayed, or perhaps you'd simply arrived too soon, and your teacher tried to turn things into an impromptu lesson instead, declaiming in a loud, clear voice the story of the founding of Gigantea, accompanying the spoken words with smooth, fluid sign for those of your crushmates who were deaf or simply preferred to watch instead of listen. This attempt at structure didn't work, of course, not even for a moment. Filled with energy by the unfamiliar environment and the novelty of being outside the city's walls, your crushmates ran screaming around the docks, playing a game of spirits and kings. Some other time you might have joined in, but you felt yourself drawn instead to a hill at the dock's southern edge. If asked, you couldn't have said why. All you knew was that you were filled with an urge to climb it, and quickly. Okay, this is probably a stat determiner. Um, let's go with steadily. Yeah. Steadily is good. That works. Next. Soon enough, you reach the hill's crest. At first, the sight of your teacher and crushmates below you was reward enough. Never had you seen them from such a height. But then you turned to look down at the water, and you understood what it was that had really called you. There, dancing and twirling atop the waves themselves, was a figure wreathed in pale blue light. The sunlight seemed to dance with the figure, sparkling on the water, intertwining with what had to be spirit magic. Even at your early age, you had been given the warnings that all Gigantean children receive. Dire stories of the gods who cast the world to water and brought down the age of rot so long ago. The threat still posed by the spirits, the lackeys of the gods, who drifted through the world sea, fueled by anger at the walled island city, bent on revenge for the way the royal line had kept them out of the city for so many hundreds of years. Your teacher and your parents and many other members of your community had told you what would happen if the gods and spirits ever undid the protective magics of the royal line. It would tear down the very walls of Gigantea, high tech as they might be, and then finish what the gods had started when they cast the rot upon humanity centuries before. But other than the light and an ethereal, radiant beauty almost painful to observe, this figure looked human enough. I marveled at its form. Yeah. Uh-oh. As you stood there entranced, you noticed that the quality of the sound in the fishing docks had changed. Gone were the excited screams and chattering of your crushmates. Gone was the anxious shouting of your teacher. But what had replaced it wasn't the cries of gulls chasing the boats into port, familiar enough from your window higher in the city. This was something else. It was an almost complete lack of sound, you realized after a while. The only thing you could hear was a faint, gentle hum which seemed to be emanating from that figure on the water. Your breathing slowed, your mind cleared, and you felt absolutely certain that you could communicate with the spirit right then and there. Okay, so I like that begone foul spirit is not an option here because I was being nice to it. So, speak with me, spirit, if you will. Obviously not, hey, spirit, over here with 6 exclamation points. That's kind of funny, but no. I'm not that kind of person. Um, speak with me, spirit, if you will, you thought, curious to see if the figure would actually respond. The figure turned on the water and looked directly at you, its face shining with ethereal love, and then the sound of the docks returned, the gulls and the distant shouts of your crushmates, subsumed under splashing, fairly close and clearly frantic. Uh-oh, something happened. You turned from the water where the figure danced, and that's when you saw what had happened. Someone had fallen into the water and was struggling to stay afloat right at the edge of the docks. Your teacher and crushmates were searching for them intently, on the wrong side of the docks entirely. Only you could see them flailing in the water. And then they went under. What did you do? I I can't dive into the water. I'm not gonna play as a physical character. We're gonna call out to the teacher and be like, hey, they're over there. Why would I drop a heavy rock into the water? What does that do? That does nothing. What does that mean? I guess it's so you could tell somebody to go there? Also, why would you ignore them? Why would you not help this person? All right. Hold on. Let's look at stats real quick. No stats yet. Okay, fair. No stats yet. All right. Called out to my teacher. Oh no. You shouted it in your loudest voice, quickly drawing your teacher's attention. Once he was looking at you, you pointed to the drowning person's location. And then you slipped, falling from the top of the hill and crashing into the world sea. The chill of the water was a physical shock, but worse was the chill in your heart. You didn't know how to swim. You floundered in the water, your limbs growing heavy, your lungs choked with salt and brine as you gasped for breath. But you didn't give up, and as you continued to fight the current's pull, something happened. Your limbs grew light and lithe, your strokes powerful and more sure. You practically flew through the water, heading toward your fallen crushmate. Yep. I hope that whatever saved me would help others too. Soon, you reached the place where your crushmate was drowning. With whatever power had saved you still surging through your body, it was quick work to grab the victim around one arm and, as you groped at a ladder set at the edge of the dock with one hand, to keep their head above water. As you clambered onto the dry land and the safety of the docks, with your half-dead crushmate gripped tight, you looked out at the water, shivering. But there was nothing there. Your teacher and crushmates gathered around, clamoring in a chaotic mix of sign and speech. But you couldn't explain what you'd just done. Of course you couldn't. Who would believe that you had seen a spirit? And even less likely that the sighting was the only reason you'd been out on the hilltop, able to find your crushmate and save their life. At last, your teacher quieted his charges. Are you okay? He asked. What happened? Crying is a free action. Am I gonna cry? Mumble? Clear? No, we're gonna mumble. I'm not gonna be mean. I might potentially cry, but I think we'll mumble because if you don't say anything, you're gonna get pressed on it, and we do not have time for that because nobody would believe us. So we're gonna mumble. To be honest, you don't remember exactly what you told your teacher. Whatever it was, he accepted it. Later, so did your parents. You spent a few months trying to commune with the spirits again, slowing your breathing and clearing your mind, hoping to experience their beauty again, but you never got any response. And while there was talk, for a time, of getting you some kind of recognition from the king for your help in saving your crushmate, it never came to anything. You grew older, and with time, the experience became a memory. An important memory, one that you would always use to mark your passage from an ignorant child to someone who had seen a glimpse of the wider world, but a memory all the same. Within Gigantea's walls, life went on as before, for you and all the city's other citizens. And outside those same walls, the waves of the world sea kept on sloshing, formless, eternal. Okay. Hey there, someone shouts, jolting you out of your memories. Hurry up with that glue. Coming, you shout in reply. You cast one last glance at the dancing light on the water. Although you've never forgotten the sight of that spirit, you've never seen anything like it since, either. You shake your head, trying to dislodge the feelings the memory calls up. There's no point in dwelling on something that happened so long ago. After all, soon you'll be reaching the age of majority. And even before that, there's the excitement of the upcoming Festival of Stories. This year, your parents have promised that you can go alone if you'd like, and that's something to look forward to, if nothing else. Buoyed by your daydreams of what you'll make of your future, you turn back to your errand and away from your past. And behind you, unseen by any but the circling gulls, the sun's reflection on the waves shimmers on and on and on, tinged with the faintest of blue light. Um, oh, Waffle, you're asking if we're going to be taking any polls for options or if I have a clear vision for this character. I actually have a pretty clear vision for this character, kind of, sort of. It's forming, I guess. Um, but the unfortunately, I can only have one playthrough of this, even though it's a multi-branching narrative. Um, because of that, I am not going to allow chat any options with this because I want to experience the story myself and not the chaotic things that chat would come up with. Um, I'm also one of the types of players, whenever I play this, I try to play it really, really consistently in terms of the character traits and stuff like that. Oftentimes the plot will approve of you doing that. Yes, your harassment is entirely for entertainment purposes. That is correct. You can just harass to harass. It's fine.
Spies!
Very good. Distraction. You're so bad. You're terrible. All right, now we hit chapter 1. Okay. Um, can I see the stats now? No? The first part of chapter 1? All right. Okay. I'm too excited. I'm a big stats person when it comes to games like these. Okay. Chapter 1. The Festival of Stories. Even as a child in creche, you knew the tales. How in the age of stories, the gods and spirits walked amongst the people as equals. How your ancestors flew through the sky on spirit drawn chariots, extended their lifespans with powerful concoctions, and held mastery over matter itself as they reshaped the world around them with a mason's hammer and handheld. With their powers and the aid of their divine friends, the people in those long gone days built glittering cities that met their inhabitants' every need, powered by living spirits bound by choice to metal and stone. Life flourished in every corner of the world, and none knew sickness or harm. Of course, it didn't last. The gods, jealous of humanity's ascendance, obviously, tore their divine power from deep within their own being and flung it outward. As they writhed in agony and ceaseless death, this vicious curse, the rot, crashed down on the world and all those who dwelt within it. The rot traveled faster than thought, turning steel to water, wine to blood. It pulled the great continents and cities of old beneath the rippling sea, snuffing out the lives of millions in a heartbeat. It transmuted many more into hideous warped beasts, half man, half monster, bizarre unnatural mockeries of life. Those who remained fled into the ocean that now spanned the world in fear for their lives. At last, one man found an island untouched by the rot and used his skill and his wisdom to raise up the first glittering bits of masonry that would one day become your home. Today, that island holds Gigantea, its tower all that remains of the age of stories. A last lone bulwark of long ago that thrusts from the world sea like a promise and a challenge and a prayer. At least, that's the language the king always uses to describe his domain, which his family has protected for hundreds of years at the cost of their own good health. You brush your right hand along one of the city's smooth, seamless walls, reflecting on its coolness and the way its impenetrable black surface glimmers in the faint glow of mason lights, the pale yellow lanterns that dot the city's rooms and hallways. You've lived within these walls your whole life, and at this point you could probably recite the details of Gigantea's founding while standing on your head.
Welcome, Coffee Streambud.
I've never found those myths very convincing. I've always sincerely believed every word. I've always dreamed of living in those times. Honestly, I care more about the here and now. We're gonna go with I've always dreamed of living in those times. The skill of the alchemists, the unnatural magic of spirit users. It must have been breathtaking to wield such power. As you stand in a dim hallway just off the market level's main plaza, you lose yourself to imagining what it must have been like to build the spires you lived in all your life. With a faint smile on your face, you head towards the stalls of the festival. You're having an LE existential crisis? Why are you having an existential crisis? What's going on? Meaning, like, you don't know what you're going to do with yourself until next season? Okay. How do I run an ad? Because I paused the ads so I could finish reading my page, and now I gotta run the ad. So let me see how to do that. Flash ad. No? Is that not a thing? How do I do this? Hold on. Let me run an ad real quick. If I can figure out how to do that. Ha ha ha. Where is it? Where's the button? Aha, ad. Okay, there's the ad. Oh, I did not realize that this, oh, there it is. Why is this thing so big? I did not realize that the crowd control thing was so huge. My bad. Sorry. I should probably turn that off, actually. Burp. There you go. Okay, ad break is ending in... Okay, welcome back from ads. Okay, now I should be good for ads for later, I guess. Okay. At least for a little bit. The noise from the plaza is intense, and the smell of festival delicacies fills the air. You take a deep breath, letting the spicy tang of garlic, robust odor of seaweed, and greasy weight of frying oil ground you in the moment. You've visited Gigantea's weekly market level more times than you can count, of course, and it's not like there's a shortage of food or other items. Thanks to the manufactories in each room and many of the public areas, anyone who wants to can print out a quick meal, a new outfit, or even tools and other objects. Of course, there are always those who point out that just because everyone has the same basic needs met, that doesn't mean there isn't inequality. Those who live closer to the Royal Spire, Gigantea's upper levels, have no need for manufactories, these critics of the system will point out. They have people to cook for them, people to clean, highly skilled tailors who outfit them lushly. And it's true enough, certainly, that manufactory printed food always tastes a little bland, and that clothing and blankets are always a little scratchy and uncomfortable. But these are problems for another day. You push the thoughts aside and try to focus more on what lies before you, the Festival of Stories. During festival time, everything feels different and exciting, and it isn't just that the plaza is transformed, its stalls decked with garlands of sea flower and copper, and its visitors dressed in the most outlandish costumes they can come up with. With its mock gods and spirits and its otherworldly atmosphere, the festival gives you a chance to step outside yourself, if only for a few short hours.
Welcome Neo Sunday.
Yeah. Welcome me to my own channel. Yep. Did the ad break go already? The ad break? There was an ad break, I thought. Did I miss it? I'm so lost. The friggin' ad breaks. Ah. Okay. I am. Ooh, okay, so this determines my station. There's the ad break. Okay. Um I don't know. I guess I can forget my noble parents fall from grace. Yeah, I like a little intrigue in my backstory. I think that's cool. Let's run with it. Ooh. Okay. I have to wait for the ad break to be over, and then I'll uh I'll finish reading this page just in case. I just realized that I should probably fix the text. Make it a little bit bigger. Because you can't tell what I'm doing. There you go. And then I'll scooch this over. I lied. That's not going to work. Let me fix that. Okay, that's good. I'm being picky about my stuff. Don't mind me. Ad break is almost over. Okay, welcome back from ads. Welcome back from ads. Okay. Not that anybody has ads right now, but you know, it's all good. It's all good. Okay. Now, where were we? As even the most humble person in Gigantea knows, life in the royal spire is taut and treacherous. Loyalties to the royal line may never change, but lesser nobles are not so lucky. You're living proof of that. Your parents made impolitic decisions that saw the three of you banished to the common levels of the city when you were still a toddler. You've never quite been able to learn what earned you this punishment, but you grew up enduring the taunts of other noble children in creche, and, almost worse, the cold disdain of common children whose parents had told them your kind thinks of them only as your inferiors. Even now, there are very few people who can overlook your past, and every time you give your full name, you can feel people's attitudes sour. Yikes. Okay. These festivities are pretty much the only time of year when people look at you and see just another person, rather than a traitor or object of derision. And this year's festival's extra special, at least for you. It's the last one before you're officially recognized as an adult in a week-long apprenticeship tour of the careers your teachers and creche have decided you're best suited to. In light of that big change, your parents have allowed you to attend the festival on your own. How does that make you feel? Lonely. I have no friends, bruh. Man, okay, me picking this backstory is yikes, is not great, you know? I mean, I for some reason, uh I have several characters who don't like fit in one way or the other in certain ways. You got like half elves and stuff like that, those kinds of things. I have a lot of characters that are like, just they don't fit in. I don't know why, but I do. So I guess that's where I'm going with this. Okay, next. It may sound childish, but you wish there was someone here to spend the day with. You don't like being by yourself. You step out of the hallway and into the market level proper, blinking until your eyes adjust to the pale yellow light of the plaza's many mason lights. Head spinning, you look around. There are stalls advertising games of chance and skill, at least a dozen festive food offerings, and even an obstacle course set up by some enterprising soul. Before you can decide which to visit, a pale skinned person dressed in faintly glowing rags runs full tilt into you. Um, I didn't see one catch him easily. I dodged him since speechless. I'm a strong person. Okay. Now I gotta determine what my skills are. If I'm a disgraced noble family's child, I am definitely not going to be strong. Um, I do they have toast in their mouth? Maybe they do. Um, I think I would like to be agile. That would be nice. Or also, I've practiced falling safely. Is an interesting way to phrase that. I think I would like to be. I'm gonna go with the speech route. I want to be the nice, like empathic-y person. That'll be good because depending on how this plot goes, maybe I need to be a leader and stuff. So I wanna have that speech 100. Hold on, do I get stats yet? No, the stats. Okay, okay, okay. I'm gonna say I'm not strong enough to stop the crash, but I ask if he's okay. I think it's fine. If it was actually me doing this, I would be like, I'm not fast enough to dodge, but I practice falling safely. Me, I would totally fall over. Um, the two of you crash to the ground, and of course you end up on the bottom of the pile. Ugh, your everything hurts. Oh God, my everything hurts. Um, I guarantee you, I'm being robbed right now, even though I have no money.
How is
Um,
everyone?
so sorry, the person stammers, looking down at you with wide eyes. You grin through the pain. Don't mention it. Are you okay? This person's eyes aren't just wide, you realize with a start. He's in a panic, and it's running away with him every bit as fast as he was running at you a moment before. Ugh. Okay, this sentence is not written super great, but I get what you're trying to say. I will. No, let's be nice. I'll introduce myself and ask him if everything's okay and if I can do anything to help. I'll fall back on politeness so we can move past this awkwardness and then share my name. I'll crack a joke. Let's go with this. We'll introduce myself. That's fine. Next. Is everything all right? You ask. If there's anything I can do to help, please just tell me. He shakes his head rapidly. Looks like the direct approach is just stressing him out more. You look around for something that might take his mind off his troubles. Are you here for the festival? You ask. What's your favorite stall? He blinks, then smiles shyly. I've never been here before, he admits. Maybe something physical? You pair that with the way he just crashed into you and grin. Maybe the obstacle course? It's a lot of running and jumping and climbing. Collision's optional. His pale skin makes the blush that spreads across his face really obvious, but his smile breaks into a grin that matches your own. By the way, you say as the two of you get to your feet, I'm these are interesting names. I'm gonna be. I don't know. I gotta pick a good name now. Looking at these names, I gotta pick something like similar ish. Let's go with. Uh, I'm. I'm Severin. I'm Severin. My last name is. Uh, Severin Takara. No, I don't like that. I don't like any of these. Abera. I mean, Abera is okay, I guess. Severin Abera? Sure. Ebera? Abera. No, it's Abera. That's so Abera. I need something I can actually pronounce. I'm going to say this 5,000 times. Oh, here. It's fine. I got it. I got it. I got it. I'm just. Oh. I enjoy that it tells me this. That's cool. Got it. Okay. Um. Famo, apparently. Let's go with. I need like a short name. Because Severin is a long name. So. Uh. Screw it. It's loose now. It's loose. That's fine. Even though loose is not a surname. But it's loose now. Wait. Do I want loose? Hold on. I gotta think about this. I don't know. No, loose is too short. I need like I need like 5 letters. Hold on. Let me pull up Yafnag. Yafnag. Always with the Yafnag. I need 5. Let's do 4 to 6 letters. Generate. You know what? Let's just use Regal. Is it Regal? That's how you pronounce the name of the star, right? Hold on. Checking. Bruh, it's pronounced Rigel? No way. Is it really? It is Rigel? I don't like Rigel. That sounds terrible. Hmm. Forget it. It's Rigel. That's fine. Rigel is fine. I'll live. Severin Famo Rigel. You finish with a little bow. Although the rags on the person who crashed into you buck the trend, most people in Gigantea dress in a way that makes their pronouns clear. You point to your own clothing and hairstyle, a little self-conscious. I wear a badge to show my pronouns. I wear a badge so people won't gender me. Ooh, do not perceive me. I love that. We're gonna use the them pronouns. Here's what your pronouns will look like. Okay, I think it's fine. Looks good. Thanks for stopping me, Severin Famo Rigel, the person who ran into you says. You smile in what you hope is a reassuring manner. Just Severin is fine. Right, he says. Then he seems to remember that your stopping him involved the two of you crashing to the ground. Another blush crosses his face. Turns off romantic and sexual content. Turns off romantic content. Turns off sexual content. It can't be that bad, can it? Am I gonna get banned? If we get to the sexual content, am I gonna get banned? Hold on. I did not think this through when I thought about streaming this. One moment. Let's read the policy. Hold on. Give me a second. I think it's fine.
2 hours later.
Lamau, how dare you? How dare you? How dare you? I think it's fine. Where's the. Hold on, there's so many TOS changes. I'm so confused. Um, I don't think this is a problem. I think I'm fine. I think I'm fine. I don't think this is a problem. This is fine. We're fine. Twitch complicated. It really is. I think it's fine. If I run into any issues, I will very carefully just skip over it. I will read it and skip it and not say anything, and then we'll just, we'll act like it didn't happen, so it's fine. This guy's not my type. Next. I really do appreciate your kindness, he continues, after an awkward moment. I'm Anon, by the way. With a glance that takes in your clothes and his own rags, he adds, I use he and him pronouns, but someone in the plaza somewhere shouts angrily, and Anon's mouth snaps shut in a full-body flinch. He looks briefly over his shoulder, and when he looks back at you, that same note of panic is back in his eyes. You follow his glance, but can't see anything out of the ordinary. You do, however, see someone you recognize beneath the awning of a colorful food stall, and it looks like she's seen you, too, since she shouts your name and waves. It's Marina Famo Takara, a noblewoman's daughter whose family line has close connections to the royal family, unlike your own. She's a fledgling lieutenant in the Spire Guard, but she's your own age and you've known her since creche, even before she formally changed her name and gender to the one that obviously suits her much, much more. Hey, based. She walks towards you, waving vigorously as if everyone in the plaza hasn't already seen and heard her, and shouts your name even louder than before. Jesus! Why are you annoying? With the way her bright red Spire Guard uniform stands out against her dark skin, Marina cuts a dashing figure. Her Spire Guard sword in its navy scabbard, which she's thrust into her belt loop at a rakish angle, completes the picture, making her the very model of rigorous beauty. She brushes her black hair back behind one ear with an easy grin, as if she knows exactly what you're thinking. You look stunning as ever, Marina, you admit as she stops before you and Anon. The grin grows. Don't you know it? She winks at you. But hey, I like a pretty face as much as anyone. So long as they're not looking for anything physical, I'm happy to oblige in a little romance. Right. Marina's never made a secret of her preferences. Uh, Ace Rep? Let's go? Ace Rep! Let's go! Despite your family situation, Marina stuck close to you when the two of you were kids. Her presence was always a comfort. Still, we fought like gods and spirits. I've always found it slightly annoying. We even dated for a while, but split on good terms. We even dated for a while and broke up disastrously. She kinda too loud, man. I don't know. But I'm not gonna say no to a friend because I am a very lonely person. So I guess her presence was always a comfort is fine. We're friends. It's cool. And who is this? Marina asks, turning to Anon. He shrinks in on himself a little. I'm, Anon. He and him, please. Well met, Anon, Marina says with a little bow. You found yourself some good company for the festival. You smile. Same old Marina. She looks back to you. So, you here for the festival? She asks. You hesitate. Marina's a good friend, and you don't see her often. Ah, now I pick who I want to be with. I guess we should all go together, huh? Might as well. Meet a new friend. and then hang out with an old friend. I think that's fine. This is fine. Let's all go together. All three of us? Marina asks with a ready grin. Sure, why not? Anon takes an unsteady step back. What's wrong? Marina asks him. Then she gives Anon a wink. Don't worry, I'll protect you from any unscrupulous vendors. She rattles her sword in what's clearly intended as a joke, but Anon's pale skin drains even further of color. I have to go, he blurts out. I'm sorry. Then he turns tail and runs before you can blink, heading for that same darkened corridors you were standing in a few minutes before. Huh, Marina says. Bit of a sensitive one, isn't he? You should probably go make sure he's okay. We'll catch up later, I'm sure. Well, that was unexpected. You were looking forward to hanging out with a new friend as well as Marina. Should you go make sure Anon is okay or stay here with Marina? You can always apologize to the other person later. Surely they'll understand. Stats. Yes, the stats. I'm not aloe row and okay, I'm not aloe, but okay, fine. That's because that's my only option. Skepticism, reverence, sarcasm, diplomacy, secrecy, transparency, ambition, compassion. My skills are communication, physicality, nimbleness, awareness, creativity, masonry, alchemy, and spirit use. Okay, okay. Can do. Okay, this is workable. This is workable. I can do this. Uh, I'm unaligned right now. Oh, you can adjust your romance preferences. Can you? How do I do that? Next. What do you change it to? Oh. That's nice that it lets you change these things. That's good. So it doesn't lock you in case you decide you want to change your options. Okay. I will go. I have to go check because I hate thinking that I might have hurt his feelings. Right. Sorry about this, Marina. She gives you a smile, although the sparkle that was in her eyes when you said you'd go with her has faded. It is good to see you, Severin. It's been too long. Let's catch up again later. With that, she turns and heads back to the festival, waving casually over her shoulder as she goes. You find Anand standing at the very edge of the market's main plaza, looking back at the festival lights with obvious longing in his eyes. He jumps when you approach. I thought you were going with Marina. You smile. I was worried about you. Oh, he says, eyes widening again. I'm sorry for making you worry. You shake your head. Please, Anand, you haven't done anything wrong. Anand smiles shyly. Since you came to get me, shall we go to the festival? He grabs at his rags again. I'd love to take my mind off things, even if it's only for a while. Do you want to talk about it? You ask. Anand looks away. To be honest, not really. As the two of you head toward the festival, you look around for a safer conversation topic. I'll. I'll. What do I want to do? Alchemy? Not masonry. That's kind of weird. Alchemy or spirit use? I don't know. Let me think about this for a minute. Let's go with. Let's go with spirit user. I want to be a spirit user. I'll share an urban legend I heard about spirit users. I heard a neat story the other day, you say, from a couple of older folks eating while I was pulling a shift in the kitchen. One of them swore someone they both knew and trusted had seen a person high up on the outer walls of Gigantea, floating from spire to spire as if by magic. They swore up and down it was proof that spirit users were real. For some reason, Anon shrinks in on himself at the word spirit. You okay? You ask. Oh, he says faintly. Sure. Are you interested in that kind of thing? I thought most people didn't think stuff like that was real. The person they were talking to didn't really believe it, you admit. But the idea is so cool. I slipped them an extra dessert for livening up my shift. Of course, you don't mention your childhood encounter near the docks. At last, the two of you reach the main plaza. If the noise and smells of the festival were strong where Anon ran into you, here they're almost overwhelming. There's so much to do, so much to take in. A person in their middle years laughs uproariously at something you didn't catch, then bats their neighbor playfully with a festival fan, while closer at hand an elderly gentleman peruses a cart laden with clothing, apparently trying to figure out whether to purchase a scarf or a hat with a bauble on top. Over it all, you can hear the strains of an aria from a few aisles away. Do you think we could try the obstacle course? Anon asks eagerly. Unless you're here to play Nim with Marina or do the obstacle course with Anon, these puzzles and food stalls are just for fun. They won't affect the game. Once you're ready to leave the festival, select the last menu option. Want to replay the puzzles some other time? Just open the stats menu and select the minigames option. Ooh, minigames! Let's eat. I want to eat. I want to eat. What you got? What you got? Let's eat something sweet. After a bit of back and forth, you and Anon pick up a tasty treat from a nearby vendor. Ooh, it's cinnamon and sugar rolls, sweet and yummy. You dab at a stray bit of cinnamon paste with a napkin. Another stall catches your attention. Anon looks over at the obstacle course. Could we try that next? He asks. I guess we'll try out the obstacle course. You approach the stall where the obstacle course begins, Anon practically bouncing on his feet as you get closer to it. The course looms over the festival stalls, a motley construction of rope and planking that vanishes in and out of side rooms. A woman at the entrance greets you with a bow. Welcome to the obstacle course, citizens. You'll have to go through one at a time, but would you like to give it a try? Anon tugs your sleeve and makes excited little noises. You can practically hear the sound of his heart breaking if you say no right now. Well, I can't say no, apparently, so let's do this. Excellent, the attendant says, but be cautious. You'll face obstacles from the starting line itself. I'm going first, Anon blurts out, and then darts onto the course. Guess you're going second. You advance to the starting line for the obstacle course, drawn on the floor tiles with white chalk. Is the line an obstacle? Has the obstacle course already started? Or is this just the starting point? You're probably overthinking, right? I'll cross it carefully, just in case. You spend a few minutes assessing the line, even dropping to all fours to get a much closer look at the chalk it's made of. You cautiously set one foot, then the other over the line, holding your breath. Phew. But also, maybe you could have gone a little faster here. That is something I would do, though. I'd be stupid and overthink it like that. You move on to the first real obstacle, a rope ladder just past the starting line that leads up to a narrow walkway. The ladder itself looks fairly well made. The rope is smooth to touch without being slippery, and everything is joined together properly. There's even a convenient handrail at the edge of the platform, so if you can get that far, you should be able to grab a hold and haul yourself over. However, you can't help but note that the two sides of the ladder are joined in a single point up at the ceiling, like an upside-down V, and they're tied to a large metal loop that looks suspiciously like it'll spin. At floor level, the ladder isn't attached at all, but dangles loosely above a thick layer of padding. Climbing this won't be easy. You give the ladder a quick critical look. What's the best way to climb it? You can quit immediately. I'll take my sweet time. It might be slow, but I know I won't fall. I'll move somewhat fast, but not too fast. I don't want to slip, but I don't have all day. I'm going up at full speed. I might fall, but time is of the essence. Is time of the essence? I don't think this is timed. I'm not going to take my sweet time. Let's just go fast, but not too fast. You set your hands firmly on the ladder and put your foot on the lowest rung. The ladder wobbles unsteadily, but you keep your grip on it. Moving steadily, but not too fast, you climb. As soon as you're off the ground, the ladder starts to spin. Fortunately, you make it to the top and grab the handrail before you lose your grip on the ladder. Moving quickly now that you're at the top, you haul yourself onto the walkway. You feel faintly dizzy, but there's no time to rest on your laurels. You've still got a long way to go. From your vantage point at the top of the ladder, you can see the narrow walkway a little bit better. It seems to be made from a single plank of extruded wood, laid across a dizzying fall into a deep pool of water. It does look a little wobbly, like it'll tip and pitch you into the pool if you're not careful where you step. The other side of the plank leads into a door-sized opening in the wall. Taking a glance at the pool below, you notice there's a ladder that leads back up to where you just came from. Seems like if you fall in, you're going to have to start over. Uh... A single plank of wood? Shouldn't you go fast across a single plank of wood? Because if you go fast, you could, like, make it, theoretically. You use your momentum. We're gonna go full speed. Let's go. With a rebel yell, you run full tilt across the plank. As narrow as the path is, keeping your footing is a challenge. You've barely gone a few heavy steps when it starts to bounce around underneath you like it's going out of style. But hey, at least it's not tipping over, right?
Welcome value hour.
Whether it's grit or luck or a bit of both, you make it to the far side of the walkway without being pitched into the water. You take a moment to catch your breath, then move on to the next obstacle. Hi, Value. How are you? Thanks for joining.
I'm hungry.
We vibin' today. We chillin'. Pretty good story today so far. The plank ends on a narrow ledge outside what's essentially an open doorway set in the wall of the first room. On the other side of the opening is a hallway. That's it. Just a regular hallway. There are short pillars and clumps of masonry placed oddly on the floor, but they're not going to be very difficult to step over or walk past. All in all, it doesn't seem like much of an obstacle. Of course, by now, you should know that the course isn't going to be that easy. When you step into the hallway proper, there's a loud click, and the whole thing slowly starts to tilt, lowering the part where you're standing while the opposite end shifts upward. This isn't a hallway, it's a chute. You could try to speed down, up, before it tips you into the pool beneath the plank. Or you could try using the masonry as handholds and climb up. Or just hold on to see
It's
if the
delicious
chute levels
waffle
out
bowl
again.
hat.
We're gonna use... Gotta go fast! Ah! No, we're gonna climb up those handholds. Wait, or the masonry. Wait. 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 Do I climb? Or wait? If I wait, then I can go quickly. Or I... No, wait, no. Let's climb up. That's fine. Oh.
Are refreshing. Thanks
for...
value hour.
Thanks for feeding and hydrating Milkshake. I appreciate it. This is an interactive fiction novel. It's called Spire, Surge and Sea, written by Stewart C. Baker. I'm only allowed one playthrough, so I will not let chat choose options because I'm a very consistent type of interactive fiction player. So I will be reading this book, and fingers crossed. Right now we're exploring. We're in an obstacle course at a festival, so we're having some fun right now. Hopefully, there's no... You haven't missed any, like, major plot just yet, so you're good. You drop to all fours and start clambering up the hallway as it tilts, using the bits of masonry in front of you as handholds. The hallway continues to click and lower, click and lower, and soon it's a steep climb. This has to be at least a 45-degree angle. When you pass the halfway point, though, the chute abruptly releases a hiss of steam and ratchets back into hallway mode. You rush through it the rest of the way as fast as you dare in case the hallway changes its mind and dumps you in the water. Oh, I made it. But Lord Help Me comment was toward these drunk guys singing Buddy Holly by Weezer while playing pool. Not gonna lie, might not even remember it later since I'm drinking. It's all good value. This will be in the VODs if you decide you would like to see how the story ends. No worries, you're good. With the chute safely behind you, you arrive at the next obstacle, which is apparently a pitch black room. Or maybe it's a maze? Kind of hard to tell since there are no mason lights at all to light up this space. You can barely see your hand when you stick your arm out in front of you. But when you take a couple steps into the blackness, you can tell it's a maze. There are two possible paths you can take just beyond the edge of the light. Seems like you'll have to try and get through a whole maze without being able to see. There's also a door to your left with a sign that says emergency exit. Oh, the drunk guys are being weird and obnoxious? It's it's Thursday. Why are they getting why are these people gaming so hard? Like they're just acting so crazy on a Thursday. They still have work tomorrow, I'm sure. Man, people are weird, honestly. I'm gonna there you go. I'll walk right through with one hand on the wall so I don't get turned around. He looks a bit young. You walk into the darkness, pretty sure you found the best way to solve mazes. It takes a few disorienting minutes, but you keep your hand firmly on the wall, so at least you know you haven't gotten turned around. At last, you feel the floor sloping up slightly, which is new and possibly a good probably a good sign, right? You pick up the pace a little, eager to be back in the light. At last, you make it out of the dark maze and come out on yet another platform looking down at that pool of water that leads back to the start of the course. A thin rope is attached to the ceiling above the platform, stretching down at a gentle angle all the way back to the entrance, where there's a little flag set up to mark the end of the course. You jump a little when someone taps you on the shoulder. It's the attendant. They point to the rope. Hand over hand, bud, they tell you with a smirk. If you fall in, you'll have to start over. Your arms ache proactively. It's got to be at least 20 meters down to the exit. You've got to be kidding me, you groan. They laugh. I'm totally kidding you. Here, strap in. You catch the harness they toss you and strap it around your waist. The attendant checks that it's snug, then clips it to the rope. Anytime you're ready, they say, we recommend holding onto the harness, but some people like to spin on the way down. No, I'll spin a little. Ah! Ready, you tell the attendant. They give you a push, and you go into a graceful spin as you slide down the zip line. A short moment later, you feel blessed to have solid ground beneath your feet once more. You did it. You completed the obstacle course. The attendant unclips you from the zip line and marks down your time. They say. It looks like that took you 14 minutes. Is that good? You ask. They shrug. It's not the fastest I've seen, but it's not the worst either. I guess you've earned this silver medal. They hand you a tacky little medal on a piece of string. It's kind of silver, maybe. If you keep trying, they add, you could probably go faster. It's something to keep in mind, you guess. Haha, I got a silver medal! That was cool. They were loudly rating women that passed by them. Ew. Gross. I hate people like that. Ew. Shady. You leave the obstacle course behind, limping and groaning. You've got to work out more often. Anon is bouncing on his feet, grinning ear to ear. Yes, he says, that was the best. Thanks so much for doing it with me. Maybe if you do this enough times, it won't feel so exhausting. The day's still young. I'll skip some. No, let's eat something else. Hold on. Let's eat something savory. You and Anon split a salty snack from one of the food stalls. Yeast spread on fresh baked rolls. Delicious. You wipe away a few stray crumbs. Yeast spread on fresh baked rolls? Is that just Vegemite? Me and a few of my male coworkers were asking them to knock it off or just leave. Eventually, we told them if they didn't, they'll be escorted out by police. Yeah, you tell them. Good job. I think I'll skip some stones. Why not? This stall is a little different from the rest of the stalls at the festival. It's been set off from the others, against what's otherwise a long, unbroken stretch of wall. As you step closer, you realize it's not even a stall. It's simply a colorful awning that someone has set up around a door. Welcome, welcome, signs the person watching the entrance, flipping a small, smooth stone in the air with a grin on their face after they repeat the word. Want to try your luck at skipping stones? Break the record and you could see your name in lights. In lights? Anon asks, sounding baffled. The attendant shrugs. Not really, but we'll write it on a certificate and you can put it in your quarters. Sure, why not? Let's skip a stone. Welcome to the stone skipping stall. Here, you'll pick a stone based on its size and smoothness, then decide how hard and at what angle to throw it across a body of water. Different combinations will go farther and skip more times, though there's always a small element of chance involved. Can you throw your stone more than 150 meters with more than 10 skips? Inside the stall, or stand, room, you're not sure what to call this one, is even stranger. For one thing, it's way too long for a normal room. It seems to cover the entire stretch of wall you saw outside and then some. More importantly, though, the floor is sunken beneath a handspan of water. There are a few boxes of stones nearby, sorted by size. I'll pick a tiny stone, small, medium, large, take the biggest stone I can find. Let's do a small stone. You settle on the small stones box. You could easily fit several of these in the palm of your hand. On closer inspection, you realize that there's more variety to these stones than just size. Some are jagged, while others are smooth as a tabletop. Looks like you have another decision to make before you've picked out the perfect skipping stone. Will you go for something bumpy, flat, or in between? I want... not even smooth is enough for me. I want flat, flat, flat. Yeah, a 10. It takes a bit of doing, but at last you come upon the flattest of the flat small stones. It's like a piece of paper, but made out of rock. Your selection's made, you stand and face the water. There's no wind since the stone skipping stall is indoors, and the surface of the water is perfectly still. That will make this a little easier. It's all going to be down to your form when you release the stone you've picked. You heft it in one hand, taking care not to throw it by mistake. Although it's kind of hard to heft a flat rock like this, you keep almost cutting yourself on its edges. Seems like the only thing to do now is to throw the dang thing. You take a few careful practice swings, trying out various angles of approach. Aiming straight down at the water, a nice 45-degree angle should do the trick. I'll try for around 15 degrees, a little angle, but not much. I'm throwing the sucker straight out. No angles here. I'm aiming up, up, up with this rock. If my rock is flat, and I want to skip it.
Nice to meet you. I'm
Milkshake. Skip
Milkshake.
it. I'm gonna throw it this way. This way, right? Like this. Wow, not like that. Like like this. Let's go straight out. If distance is the name of the game, why screw around with technique? You're just gonna lob it straight out there. Your angle of approach isn't the only aspect of skill in skipping stones, though. Haven't you heard experts debate the benefits and drawbacks of adding spin to your throw, or making it as spinless as possible? I guess a light spin might be beneficial. You're not sure you want a completely spinning stone, but maybe a bit is a good idea. It's gotta be worth a try. Alright, you've got your small, totally flat stone, and you've decided upon an approach with a straight out shot and a little spin. All you gotta do now is throw this stone. I'll give it a very light toss. I'll throw it pretty hard. Ah, full power! No, we're gonna go a medium amount of strength. That's fine. My stone skipped 5 times and went 51 meters. Oh, that's not that good. Okay, thanks, bye. I'm done with the festival. Thanks for showing me around today, Anon says as you move to leave the festival stalls behind you. It was nice to see how normal people... He trails off. Before you can ask exactly what he means, someone plays 3 loud, sharp notes on a horn. Blah, blah, blah. What's that? Anon asks, looking around anxiously as an expectant hush falls over the market plaza. It's the sign that the pageant of spirits is starting, you say, a little surprised that he doesn't know. The hush deepens, then breaks as another blast of fanfare sounds from the far side of the square. Anon looks like he's about to make a break for the opposite side of the festival. You give him a reassuring smile. Don't worry, this is just part of the festival. His eyes dart from side to side anxiously. Where are all the people going? He asks. You glance at the crowd. They've already started hurrying to where the pageant will begin. They're going to take part in the pageant of spirits, you tell Anon as you gesture at him to join the throng with you. A little reluctantly, he does. See how most people are dressed as spirits and gods, you say, pointing at the others in their outlandish costumes. They'll chase the king all around the plaza. Anon swallows nervously. The actual king? Yeah, you say. It's supposed to represent the original king's flight to Gigantea centuries ago. You know, when the jealous gods kicked off the Age of Rot? What happens if someone catches him? Supposedly, he grants them a boon, you say. But I've never seen it happen. Despite his age, the king is pretty fast. From what I've heard, it's only ever happened a couple of times. Oh, he says. Something about his voice is strange, but you can't place it. Maybe it's just because this is somehow his first festival of stories, and he doesn't know what to make of it. The rest of the crowd has no such problem. People are really worked up, clearly eager to see their king, or at least to try and catch him. As for you... I've always hung back, wanting to avoid attention. The king needs to be fast, because otherwise he has to grant them a boon, I guess, if they catch him. Being part of such a huge crowd makes you anxious. You're always more comfortable left to your own devices rather than being put in front of others who might want to know more about you. Still, you can't exactly avoid the pageant of spirits. It's not that it's mandatory exactly, but it's an important tradition, as your parents always told you. So each year, you join the others like you, quietly observing the raucous tradition from its outer edges, glad that everyone is focused on their king, rather than on why you're not as worked up as they are. You imagine this year will be no different, even if you are here with Anon instead of with your parents. But as you and Anon reach the staging ground for the pageant, you spot something odd in one of the empty stalls. There, deep in the shadows, at the very back of the stall, you can just make out the barest outline of someone crouching down. That's definitely not normal, and it's a little concerning. You remember hearing rumors about troublemakers, and wonder if you should report this to the Spire guard. But hey, maybe whoever this is just really hates crowds? On the other hand, you could just go see for yourself what they're doing. It would be faster. I've got to check it out. The king could be in danger. It might be suspicious. I should tell the Spire guard. I'll go say hi. Probably as sick of all this pomp as I am. Stat check. Let's go talk to them because my communication skill is so crazy. Alright, let's go talk to them. We'll go say hi. My charisma! As you start over to the stall, Anon slows to a stop beside you. Did you see something? Just someone in that stall there, you say. They look like they were hiding, and I was going to see what they were up to real quick. Anon tenses up. Is that a good idea? He asks. You're about to tell Anon and it'll be fine, but when you look back at the stall, it's empty. Even when you quickly walk over, there's nobody in sight. Your imagination, maybe? You were sure you saw someone, but there's nowhere here for anyone to hide. Sorry, you say. Guess I'm seeing things. Anon gives you an anxious smile. That's a relief. You try to set it out of mind, turning back toward the pageant area. Let's get going, you say. We'll miss the start. After a few moments, you and Anon reach a recessed amphitheater set off to one side of the market level. Typically reserved for reenactments of lost plays by Gigantea's community theater group, which are a great outlet for creative expression, during the Festival of Stories, the space is transformed every bit as much as the festival goers. There are even more garlands of mason lights here than elsewhere, and they've been rigged to the ceiling far above, where they're half covered by undulating streamers of dark blue and pale green. The overall effect is of standing deep beneath the ocean and looking up at a starry sky. Well, that's what you imagine it would look like, anyway. On the hemispherical stage below, they set up the same throne room as always. An enormous gilded throne prop dominates the center of the space, reaching almost to the bottom of the streamers. The throne is surrounded by broken statuary and jutting bits of backdrop painted to look like the cities of old, all glittering lights and metal and glass. Wow, Anon breathes, looking up at the streamers. Pretty great, huh? You agree. Privately, you wonder how it compares to the real throne room. With your family's exile, you've never seen it. The king is already on stage, seated on his elaborate temporary throne and wearing his customary pageant crown. You can see the brightly colored streamers shaking as he laughs at something with a pair of visibly starstruck festival committee members. He's an older man, with ruddy skin that's a few shades lighter than many here in Gigantea, and a shaggy salt and pepper beard. He has looked this way for as long as you can remember, and looks no worse for wear, which his supporters tout in bright voices as a sign of the royal line's strength and virility, and his detractors mutter darkly is a sign of how unequally the city's resources are spread amongst those who live within its walls. Okay, okay, okay. Anon gasps when he sees him and steps back as if burned, putting you between him and the stage. You okay? You ask him. Um, he says, swallowing audibly. I just wasn't expecting to see him here. You blink. The Festival of Stories and Pageant of Spirits are annual events, and attendance is pretty much a given. It's weird that someone around your own age might not expect to see the king on the stage. Do you really not know about this stuff? You ask. They don't let. He grimaces, as if he's eaten something bad. I don't get out much. You take in his slightly shaky hands and clenched jaw with concern. Do you want to leave? You'd hate to have someone pass out just because of a passion. Just because of a pageant. Blah. Anon gives you a weak smile. Thanks, but I think I'll be okay. After the last few members of the crowd trickle in, a Spire Guard member standing at the top of the amphitheater raises her hand. On cue, jubilant horn music fills the air and everyone returns to the stage, where the two assistants are scurrying off. I smile politely to set others at ease if they glance at me. Let me not. Wait. Hold on. Ah, diplomacy. Right. Okay. I was like, how sassy am I? I'm not that sassy. Okay. We're not. We know. We're not gonna sass. We just smile politely. As the music fades away, the king stands from his throne and raises his own hands in greeting. People of Gigantea, he says, thank you once again for joining me here in our fine market plaza. Just like every year, I stand here before you, humbled by the energy and creativity you bring to the festival and the pageant. Even if Gigantea weren't the only place on the world see fit for human life, your contributions and community would make us somewhere very special. You squint, unsure if he really believes what he's saying. Surely nobody here is buying this hokey "we're all in this together" stuff. And, just like every year, the king continues, shaking the streamers on his crown, I'm proud to offer a boon to anyone who manages to claim one of these for their own. He gives the audience a very obvious wink, which is, very sadly, going to be none of you. Let's do this. Before anyone can applaud, he's off the stage like a bolt of lightning in a stormy sea, dashing straight through the middle of the crowd, up the amphitheater stairs, and out into the market level proper, weaving between stalls and dodging other obstacles. A few people make half-hearted grabs at his crown as he passes, but none come close to catching him. Anon gasps and shrinks in on himself as the king runs past, then seems to relax once the crowd starts after him. Are you really going to chase him? He asks. Uh. I'm not gonna go. I have two watch options here. One is we can tell stories about why people are taking part, and the other one is interesting to see how everyone approaches the problem. So one of these, so we can tell stories is definitely a communication, and then it's interesting to see how everyone approaches the problem is awareness? Is that what it is? Awareness? Yeah, let's go with awareness. I don't need to pump communication anymore, so we'll see this one. Ugh. Don't redeem a posture check. I'm doing it myself. Ugh. Okay. Anon seems torn between relief and disappointment. At least the king didn't see me, he murmurs. Starts guiltily, as if he hadn't meant to say it out loud. You politely ignore the slip and watch as the majority of the people in the crowd chase after the king. As always, there are a wide variety of tactics. Some surge ahead, thinking that those closest to the king will have the best chances. Others hang back, heading down different aisles of the market plaza to try to head him off when he ducks between stalls or changes direction. Of course, they're soon all out of your sight. Typically, you follow along to get a better view as the action unfolds and take in how the king avoids capture, but with everything that's happened this year, you decide that maybe you'll just get to know Anon a little. That's when the whole market level shakes, as if caught in a seaquake, and a sound like thunder rolls through the air. Okay. The people still gathered in the amphitheater begin to murmur amongst themselves, and you exchange a nervous glance with Anon. You don't remember ever feeling something like that. What if it actually was a seaquake? What if Gigantea is collapsing? What if somebody got hurt? Before you can decide how to react,
Check
a
out the
few
Pando
members...
Pet Cafe to play with me.
Milkshake! How dare you? Before you can decide how to react, a few members of the Spire Guard take the stage, hands on their swords. As they do, a couple of people make for the exit, only to be met by more Spire Guard members, who lead them back to their seats. Please remain calm and stay seated, one of the guards on stage says to the audience. Everything is under control. It's probably supposed to be reassuring. But would they really need to come on stage and say that if it were true? And why do they have their hands on their swords as if they're expecting some kind of attack? I am going to tell them they can't stop us from leaving. Actually, no, I'll just sit. I'll sit and watch. Because something is funky here. I don't like this scenario. Something is weird here. You missed a chance for oh no, he's hot. Is he hot though? He don't sound that hot. He sound okay. You stay where you are, keeping your lips firmly closed and exchanging a glance with Anon. A short while passes, and there aren't any further loud booms. You start to relax, relieved you didn't make a scene. Just then, a commotion at the edge of the market plaza draws your attention. It's the king, returning to the amphitheater already. What's more, he's followed by a stranger, triumphantly holding one of the streamers from the crown aloft in one hand. The king strides back down to the stage, which he leaps onto easily. Be at ease, my people, he says. All is well. Then he points to his crown. All is better than well. For the first time in many years, we have a victor in the pageant of spirits. Your Majesty, starts one of the Spire Guard members, voice urgent. This is... The king cuts him off with a sharp motion of one hand, then confers quietly with him for a moment before turning back to his audience. As I've said, we have a victor in the pageant of spirits. He gestures to the stranger with the streamer. Tell us your name, young man, and what you would have as your boon. I have an ad break in a minute. I'll wait. I can wait for the ad break while I think about what kind of decision I want to make. So I'm pretty sure this is another love interest. Pretty sure. I could be wrong. So I gotta be kind of strategic with my choices here. I kind of want to oh, Neo ad break. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for DVD corner. I think. Oh, here's the ads. I don't know. I think I want. I kind of want to lean forward. Admittedly, if this doesn't happen very often, like the the getting of the streamer thing, then I kind of want to know what's going on. Like, I'd like to know what he wants. So I think I'd like to lean forward. My tea's almost gone. I hope you're tipped handsomely tonight too, especially because you got drunk guys and karaoke night. I agree. I'm sorry that you're going to be subjected to drunken karaoke though. That doesn't sound very fun at all. Oh, here's the ads. I didn't think about dinner yet. Well, we're sitting here through ads. Um, Waffle, did you think about dinner? I didn't think about dinner yet. Good thing I had lunch. At least I remembered to have lunch today. I had tacos for lunch. They were good. I hope we don't want tacos for dinner because I don't want tacos.
Check out the Pando Pet Cafe to play with me.
I'm just going to sit here and flop this bread on my head for a little bit. Yeah, need food. Okay. What kind of food? What kind of food are we thinking? Let me just wiggle this bread. Wiggle this bread. So, the 1.5 model, by the way, is ready. You'll see it after this week because I gotta, I have to. I promised I would give you all a whole week of crazy toppings. So we're still on crazy topping mode. Once that's done, then I will switch to model version 1.5. I'm very excited. I do have to get it set up though, so I might do that after stream today. I'll get it kind of situated. It should be good. I'm pretty excited. We'll see how it looks. It'll probably look better than this one. I'm 99% sure it'll look better than this one. But we'll see. In terms of dinner, if you have any preferences, Waffle, please text me. I don't know what I want, so. Actually, I kinda know what I want. Sort of ish. Only sort of. Let's see. More interactive bits? Boika? Want Boika? Bivgy? Ice cream. Your usual? Okay. Let me see. Hold on. Let me get it. That means I'm getting potato for dinner. Potato! Okay. You want fries, yes? Regular or small? Regular. Check. Got it. Well, I'm getting a small, so If you're willing to share your baglers, that'd be great. What do I want to eat? What do I want to eat? I just want to eat potato. And double bogie with the fries. I got it. I guess I could go for a bogie. Yeah, okay. Boikie. Let me make sure yours is a double. Yes, it is. Okay, it is a double. Okay. I think this is good. I don't need a drink. I have plenty of beverages right next to me, so that's fine. What? Bro, this thing be lying. This thing says it's ready. Like, by the time you get there, it will be ready, is what it says. Which is crazy. It says it'll be ready in like 3 minutes. I don't know why it says 3 minutes, but that's what it says. Go figure. Okay. Now that dinner is ordered, we're gonna get back into the story. Um, you stay where you are, keeping your lips firmly closed and exchanging a glance with Anon. A short while passes, and there aren't any further loud booms. You start to relax, relieved you didn't make a scene. Just then, a commotion at the edge of the market plaza draws your attention. It's the king. Wait, I read this. Lamau, hold on. My bad. I got too excited. Hold on. Boop. Okay. My name is Jaren, Jaren says, and I do have a boon. He gives the king an ironic bow, although I doubt it's one your majesty will like. Ooh, I like this guy already. The king smiles and quirks one eyebrow. No ruler of Gigantea has ever refused a boon. Ask away, Jaren. Even if it's complicated, I'm sure we can determine some way to meet it. At that, Jaren grins, the expression interestingly feral. Oh, it's the simplest thing in the world. I'm here to ask that you step down peacefully and return the rule of Gigantea to those who deserve it, its own people. Ah, snap! Based. Based. This is a strange place to do this, but okay. Hold on. What are my stats right now? What are my stats? I mean, I'm big, I'm big secrecy, big diplomacy, so, oh, but also big skepticism. So, let's, let's go with, do I want to lend my support for his suggestion? That would get me like that would get my head on a pike, right? If I did that. So maybe I shouldn't do this. Let's It's definitely not this option. It it's the one of the middle options. You know what? It's okay. Let's play my cards close to my chest. I think it's safe. You're going to rate their karaoke performances? Bless. I'm here for it. Please also include the song so I can laugh. And give them really weird descriptive names. That would be great. I will enjoy this distraction. You look around, curious to see how the audience will take Jaren's declaration. Most of the crowd seems shocked into silence by the whole exchange. Even the expressions of the Spire Guard members on stage are confused. The king, though, just gives Jaren a sad smile. I wish that I could, he says. Sincerely, I do. But it just isn't possible. The burden that those in my family line... Jaren interrupts him with a sharp laugh. Burden? Give me a break. Is it a burden to stop people from eating until they feel full? Is it a burden to keep the access codes for the best fabrics a closely guarded secret? He gestures to the crowd seated in front of the stage. Is it a burden to determine who lives a life of luxury in the royal spire and who must struggle in the muck and mire of the lower levels? At this, some in the crowd begin to murmur. You look around with a careful eye, marking out some nodding in agreement and others shaking their heads in disgust. Despite the rudeness of his tone and the accusations he's clearly making, Jaren receives the king's full and serious attention. Only when he's finished speaking does the king begin again, his own tone carefully measured. The burden that those in my family line have always borne, he says, is a heavy one. But it is all the more important for that weight. We are the last of humanity, the only ones who have survived the rot the gods cast down upon us. The crowd goes silent once again. Party in the USA 410. They aren't fully committing to the song. Middle school dances. When the song was fresh, we went harder. I'm dead. You do have to like really commit to Party in the USA to make it a banger. So I get that. I agree. The king acknowledges the people's thoughts with a small nod. I do not mention this to bring you into line, good citizens, he insists, only to remind you of how very dire our situation is. At any moment, the gods and spirits may find a crack in our magic and descend upon us, bringing the rot with them. At any moment, the breath we draw may be our last. He turns to Jaren, arms spread as if welcoming a lost child home. Was the whole thing a setup, you wonder? A way for the king to show how benign he is? Jaren laughs again, although this time he just sounds tired. The only rot that we're in danger of, he says, is what you're selling. Enough. People of Gigantea, the time has come to choose. Subservience or self-respect, fear or courage, slavery or liberty. The time has come for the surge. On the last word, another loud boom rolls through the air. This time, though, there is no shaking. Instead, the streamers detach from the ceiling and fall to the ground, breaking apart in a flutter that at first you think is confetti. Read them, my fellow citizens, Jaren says on stage. Read them and see what the king has kept from us all. All this fuss for protest pamphlets? But before you can decide whether to pick one up or not, there's a spark and brightly colored smoke begins to pour from the ceiling. People cry out in fear or wonder as the smoke quickly fills the amphitheater. While on stage, you can hear the voices of the Spire Guard calling to each other to get to the king to safety. To me, the surge, Jaren shouts over it all. To me, Gigantea. Even if you think there's some truth to what Jaren said, you wish he'd picked a less extreme way to air his grievances against the king. Am I gonna join the cause? Bruh, am I gonna join the resistance? I mean, you guys watch me play alt frequencies. I was cool with being part of the resistance. That was fun. But I can't help anyone if I'm hurt, which is definitely true too. I don't know if I should stay here. Maybe? I mean, hold on. Look at my stats one more time. And my factions. Okay, the factions are the same. I'm unaligned right now, obviously. But if the relationship wise, I've got Anon, Marina, and Jaren, and I want to romance Jaren because I always liked the resistance leader type of character. So I guess that means I need to go for the Surge faction. So here we go. I guess I'm gonna go join the cause. We'll see. Let's go. I'm gonna join the cause. Oh no. This is bad. Hold on. Run if you need to, you tell Anon. I'm gonna make sure Jaren is okay. You didn't mean it to come out as an insult, but he seems to take it that way. Fine, he spits. Help him. I'll help myself, just like I always have. What's that supposed to mean? You asked, baffled, more than upset by his venom. But instead of responding, he deflates, all the fight going out of him in an instant. It's nothing, he says. I can't blame you for just telling me to go. It's not like you know anything about what's really going on. Help him if you want, but I'll learn my lesson this time, I promise. Uh, this time? Anon knows something that he is not telling us, and I'm not happy with it. Um, I need more information here before I can decide what's going on. I'm gonna. Is he being ridiculous though? Do I want to apologize? How am I sorry? I don't know if I'm sorry though. I don't feel that sorry. So this is out. I'm taking this out. It's one of these three things. Um I think I don't necessarily think he's being ridiculous either, because clearly if he knows something more, why would you not give me all the facts? I want all the facts first. So that means I guess I have to go with him so I can learn more about this. So, but I want to romance Jaren. This is my problem. Lore or romance. In this case, honestly, the lore is really good. I like this world building. It's pretty solid. So I guess I'm gonna go with Anon, and we're gonna deal with it. I guess. Zaf, what makes karaoke good? What makes a song 10/10? Is it performance wise 10/10? I chose to go with him. I'll go with you, you reassure him. But please, won't you tell me what kind of trouble you're in? He makes a complicated expression. Ooh, I don't like that. He makes a complicated expression? Okay, I don't love that sentence. I would have loved it if it was a little bit more descriptive about about his expression. Give me a little more with that, you know? But it's fine. Um, I'll tell you later maybe. For now, we should go. Right, you say with a nod. Follow me. I think I know how we can get to safety. Uh, the way people talk will guide us. We'll just keep moving. There's no obstacle I can't overcome. We've got to pay very close attention to our surroundings. I want to up my awareness some more. So let's do that. We'll say we've got to pay very close attention to our surroundings. Boop. The feeling and the commitment to the song. Okay, got it. That's what gives it a 10/10. Okay. Value. I'm dead. That is definitely one of the expressions of all time. I agree. If I were writing about someone's expression, I would actually like describe it, because you can convey a lot, I feel like, with with telling somebody what they look like in terms of expression and things like that. Um, American Boy was 10/10, and it was done by a couple that look like they're in their early mid 30s compared to these college kids. Oh, then they'd actually know how to sing that song, um, because that's like people who are in their 30s. That's kind of their generation music, so they actually know it. So college kids, I don't know. College kids these days they don't really do karaoke, so that's weird. I don't know. I feel like they don't. So they're probably just kind of people in their mid 30s actually do karaoke. Anybody younger than that probably doesn't take karaoke very seriously at all. So people my age, you know, we still take karaoke seriously as a thing. You make requests to the DJ and it's right by the bar? Ah, okay. That's cool. I hope somebody makes like a really stupid choice.
Welcome MPI 10802.
Hello, MPI. How was your day today? How are you doing? I'd be surprised. I guess. Maybe. I don't know. I feel like people in their 20s aren't interested in karaoke. Go figure. You drop into a low crouch at the amphitheater's edge, gesturing for Anon to do the same. You slow your breathing, straining your eyes and ears, willing yourself to sense a safe passage through the smoke. At first, it's no use. The whole plaza remains a swirling sea of chaos and noise. But then, slowly, you start to notice the patterns. A quiet lull between two areas where people are shouting frantically. The slightest perturbation in the smoke that suggests air flowing through the lines of stalls. Come on, you tell Anon. We'll go this way. Still looking anxious, he follows you without a word as you carefully move through the plaza. Eventually, you find a wall. You glance over at Anon, then give him a thumbs up. We'll follow this until we reach one of the hallways leading off from the main plaza, you say. That's when someone grabs you and pulls you into a hallway you would absolutely swear wasn't there a moment ago. You struggle reflexively against the person's grip, but it's as relentless as iron. Ooh, am I about to get hurt right now? Don't worry, a voice says in your ear. I'm a totally ordinary person. I don't believe that in the slightest. The voice is, in fact, astonishingly normal sounding. Somehow, that doesn't help. Agreed, that absolutely doesn't help. You startled me, you say tamely. All in all, probably best not to anger the sort of person who grabs people from behind and pulls them into impossible hallways. Yeah, true. I'm sorry about that, the person says. It wasn't my intent. You swallow a little dryly. So, could you let go of me? Oh, of course. The hand releases your shoulder and you turn around. Your captor, or should it be your rescuer? You're not sure, either fits, is wearing a manufactory created robe. But, well, there's no way to put this delicately. This person has the robe on, both upside down and backwards. It looks deeply uncomfortable. Otherwise, the description of totally ordinary more or less fits. Nothing about this person's features stands out as remarkable, and under most circumstances, you would think you were talking to any other citizen of Gigantea. But these definitely aren't most circumstances. Your captor/rescuer gives you a tentative pat on the shoulder. There, you tried your best. Wait, I did what? You tried your best, the person repeats, slowly, as if you might not have heard the first time. Then, in a slightly lower voice, as if trying to hide the next bit from prying ears, I have it on good authority that it's what people say. You blink. A number of things to say rise to the front of your mind, but none of them seem appropriate. But that's not what's important right now. You've got to get out of here. The strange person gives you a smile. It's probably supposed to be reassuring, but with the day you've been having, you're too disoriented and unsettled to appreciate that kind of gesture. With a heavy sigh, you finally find your voice. Sorry, things have been a little odd today. Could you just let me go, please? The person nods. Of course, I understand completely. Just follow me. And then, despite your better judgment, you're walking through the weird back rooms of Gigantea. The college kids right now just suck. Ah, any Britney Spears songs from before 2009 is an easy 710 or above. Maybe one more time, tour is Britney bitch era. I agree. Honestly, early Britney was peak Britney. I I would know. I was a huge Britney fan from like the beginning. Um, I was, yeah, I loved Britney so much. I had a really cool looking purple inflatable chair that had her name on it and like flowers and junk. It was cool. It was I love that chair. It was great. But yeah, Toxic 100% classic. Excellent track. Um anyways, at first the two of you walk in silence. You're busy trying to figure out what the heck's going on and who this person is, and you assume your guide, since captor doesn't seem to fit, is too busy being weird to talk to you. Settling into the silence a little, you glance around. Unlike the parts of Gigantea you're used to, these hallways are narrow and look half finished, like a team of masons put their tools down halfway through and will come back after a tea break. There are still mason lights, but they flicker unevenly, lending the place an eerie, unreal quality. Your guide takes all this in stride. moving down a flight of oddly sticky stairs without even pausing, and always turning right or left immediately whenever the hallways branch. Between the silence and the odd company, it's starting to feel like you're walking through a dream. As if in response to the thought, your guide abruptly stops. Ah, we're here. This section of hallway looks identical to the rest. Here where? We shall soon see, is the only clarity you get. Then your guide smiles at you. But before we do, I have a question. What do you think of the gods? Wait. Stat check. I am whatever TF they're singing right now. I love how you can't even tell what they're singing right now. You have to Shazam it. Random screaming? No way. That's a song? Um. Oh, I have very little reverence. So, I'm gonna be bad. Oh. Wings of an Angel? Do I know that song? I don't think I know that song. Let's say I'm curious about what they're like. I think that's. I'd love to meet one someday and fix the world. Oh, it's a Seal song? Okay. Most interesting, your guide replies. This is a common opinion. You shrug. Hard to say. Nobody really goes around asking questions like that. Ah, your guide gives you a knowing wink. One of those ordinary people things again, right? In any case, I appreciate your candid response. And now, we can see where we are. On the last word, the wall beside you slides silently open. That's my room, you exclaim, because, bizarrely, it is. There's your bed, and your desk as well. You step out of the hallway and glance out the window. It's evening now, and a thick yellow sunset pours down on the glittering waves of the world sea, the errant rays of light glinting off the silver-gray spires of Gigantea that rise dizzyingly up above you. You know this view, this angle, like the back of your own hand. It's Zoe, by the way, your guide says. You jump. What? You ask, to cover for the fact that you nearly forgot you weren't alone. My name, Zoe clarifies. You didn't ask, Sever and Famo Rigel, but you really should have. A pleasure. I'm Sever and Famo Rigel. You already know who I am. Thank you for contributing channel points to the Husbando challenge.
Welcome, Tikio.
Hello. Okay. Can you please just leave me alone? No, that's not very nice. Let's do. Okay, let's do. Why are you telling me this now? That's a good question to ask. Why are you telling me this now? You ask. The non sequitur makes not the slightest bit of sense. Apparently oblivious to your bafflement, Zoe gives you a polite bow and steps back into the tunnel. A second later, the wall seals up as if there were never any secret passage there at all. You didn't see Zoe touch any switches or give any kind of command, but it's a neat trick, however it works. Also, a slightly worrying trick. As if the chaos during the festival weren't stressful enough, now you have to worry about secret passages that might run the length and breadth of all of Gigantea. And that can open up right into your room. Suddenly, you're too tired for all this, and you collapse onto your bed with a groan, not bothering to change out of your smoke-stained clothing. It's only as you're drifting off to sleep that it occurs to you, you never told Zoe your name. Next chapter, chapter 2. Well, I hate it when a character knows my name and I didn't give it. It always makes me immediately suspicious, like extremely suspicious. I hate that. All right, chapter 2. The wind in your sails. Okay. It's not until the next morning, when you're groggily waking, that you remember the Festival of Stories wasn't the only big event you'd been looking forward to. Or rather, until your mothers remind you. They're waiting for you, and as you all get ready to head out to one of the common dining halls for a morning meal, Mum clears her throat. How was the festival? She signs. Of course, she was there as much as you were. So what she's really asking is whether you got caught up in any of what happened. I can't tell my mom everything. Hold on. I'm secrecy, right? Yeah, I'm mostly secrecy. So, with that being said, I will tell you. I'll leave out the unusual bits. I don't want her to worry. Let's go with that. That's fine. You leave out anything worrying about your own experiences of the festival. She has enough to worry about already, what with you moving out soon. But you should have known you wouldn't get off that easily. Mum turns to Mama with a pointed look. Some backup, please? She signs. Mama grimaces. Severin, she starts, then switches to sign. Come on, kid. You know you're going to make us worry when you're not telling us things that happened to you. This is always how your mothers are, eager to know everything about your life, concerned that bad things will happen if they let you out of their sight for a moment. When you were little, it didn't strike you as unusual. How would it have? It was all you knew. But now that you're nearing adulthood, you've learned that not every family is like yours. How does that make you feel? I'm lucky to have parents who care about me. I feel stifled. They need to let me live. Whatever, parents are parents, just want to move out. Even if I'm grown now, a little pampering isn't bad. I feel stifled. They need to let me live. Let's go with that. One of the bartenders that's now off duty is singing a Bublé song. Ayo, 10-10. Nice. I love that they're allowed to just jump in on the mic because they're off duty. What a nice boss, you know? Normally I don't think you'd see that very often. That's cool. It might be natural for parents to care about their kids like this, but you feel like you're being held so tightly you can't breathe. You're going to be fully grown soon. Why can't they accept that you're your own person? Do you really have to do this? You sign, your mouth twisted in a frown. Right now? Your parents trade a glance that speaks volumes, then Mum stalks off out the door ahead of you both. Mama sighs. I'll talk to her, she says. But you sure you're doing okay? Sorry, I didn't mean to upset anybody. It's just that a lot's been going on, you say. You understand, right? Mama gives you a smile. I do, she says, and so does Mum. Really, it'll be fine. She starts to follow Mum, then stops. Oh, that's right. Today's the start of your apprenticeship week. Good luck out there, all right, kid? Then she's gone, and you're alone in the front room. You spent so much time here over the years, and it's kind of weird to realize that you're going to be spending a lot less of it after you move out. But Mama's right. It's the start of your apprenticeship week, and it wouldn't do to be late on the very first day. You decide to skip breakfast so you can get ready, and then you're on your own way out, heading through the corridors and eager for the week ahead. As you walk, you muse on your options. The Masons keep Gigantea stable and upright. One of the only technologies that humanity retains from the Age of Stories, the glimmering black masonry is an escapable sight within the city's walls. As a mason, you'll learn the techniques of adjusting and configuring the masonry with a hammer and handheld, a scuffed, well-preserved device that analyzes the nanites within each block and sets them into new configurations. Bro, what? Then there are the alchemists, who keep Gigantea fed and clothed. From what you understand, the manufactories they maintain are a newer invention. At least, you've never seen any mention of them in records from the Age of Stories. You're not quite sure how they work, either, but you've sometimes heard particularly devout individuals muttering under their breath about unnatural goo that undercuts the royal line's holy protection. In the archives, you'll be able to delve into the forgotten lore of the Age of Stories itself. Who knows what records and writings are saved from the ravages of time deep within those labyrinthine stacks. You'll have unrivaled access to the secrets of the past in there, assuming you can find them anyway. The community center might not be as exciting as high-tech masonry, weird food printing machines that use some sort of unnatural power, or digging up old secrets, but it is pretty dang important to Gigantea's long-term survival. Even with all of the marvels of this towering sanctuary from the age of rot, people still sometimes need a helping hand and a place to be with others. And then there's the Spire Guard. Like it or not, every Gigantean citizen who reaches a certain age has to complete a mandatory one-day training and orientation. If you find that to your taste, you can go on to become a reservist, stepping in to boost the Spire Guard's numbers in times of crisis. You'll try out each one of these careers before the week is through, but where are you going first? Well, I gotta try all of them, so I guess that means. Let's start with the community center. That one seems the most boring. A small set of rooms midway up the main tower of Gigantea, the community center is there to help those who need a little more than the bare minimum that the manufactories provide all citizens. Whether that's freshly cooked meals, assistance with an injury, or other condition that makes life hard, or just some socialization for folks who would otherwise be isolated and lonely. Many of Gigantea's citizens put in time here as volunteer community organizers during their creche years, and some continue to do so even as adults. I've been here many times trying to help where I can. I've rarely set foot in this place once I didn't have to anymore. I never saw the need to visit frequently. The royal line is there for people. I always knew my help was needed here. What the king provides is never enough. Let's go with I've been in here many times. That's fine. I've been here so often, I don't want to be here. Your teachers drove home the importance of helping those in need, and you took that message to heart, visiting often to do your part. Over the years, you've seen firsthand how grateful the community center's clients are for your help. That said, volunteering here as a student is one thing. What do you think about doing this every day? Sounds tiring. That's what it sounds like. You're not sure whether this is important work or not, but you think it would exhaust you. Not just walking around and checking on folks, but seeing how some people don't have enough. Still, you have to at least do it today. You look around to see if your mentor is already here. You spot him immediately, a surprisingly well-built man in his later years with a frilly pink apron tied neatly over his clothing. You'd think it would clash with his graying hair and dark brown skin, but it actually looks pretty good on him. "Hey," he says as you walk over. "Good timing. You're today's mentee, right?" "Right," you tell him. "Sweet, I'm Caden. We've got a lot of stuff to get through today, so we're going to get right down to it. You ready?" I-U-R-A. R. "Great," he says, clapping one hand on your shoulder without waiting for you to speak. "First thing, cooking. Come on." Dang, he's exactly as strong as he looks. Your shoulder aching slightly, you follow him over a fairly well-equipped kitchen workspace. There are a couple of ovens and burners, with various pots, pans, and glass dishes dotting the broad counter space. "Nothing builds people up like a home-cooked meal," he says. "It can warm the heart far more than you'd think. But," he continues, putting one finger to his lips in an exaggerated expression of consternation, "what to do? I have no idea what to make today. Can you rummage around in the supply closets and see what we have to work with?" I'll politely suggest he's better suited to the task. I'll dig around and see what cool thing I come up with. I'll scornfully suggest the worst possible option. I'll dig around and see what cool thing I can come up with. There's all sorts of stuff in here. You grab some silken tofu, some bell peppers, and various other veggies and proteins. Soon, you have a huge pile of ingredients on the counters. With that out of the way, you and Caden spend a good couple of hours prepping and cooking and organizing food. "Isn't this way too much?" you ask at one point. He nods, a faint smile on his face. "For now? Sure. We've got a deep freezer and a warmer. If someone needs a nutritious, delicious meal later, they can just pick one out and help themselves." So you keep on cooking and prepping and organizing until it feels like your arms are going to fall off and your feet are swelling in your shoes. At last, Caden declares it's break time. He gives you a heaping plate of steamed bell peppers and rice, and you sink into one of the community center's well-worn sofas with a groan to eat it. Who knew helping people would be this much work? Still, the fresh food is good. Bruh, imagine eating steamed bell peppers and rice. That sounds so gross. Steamed. Steamed bell peppers, guys. Yuck. That's like the most bell pepperiest bell pepper you could get. Oh, I got an achievement. Once you're done with your meal, Caden strides back over. He's replaced his apron with a cool gray sweater, you notice, and now he's being followed by a person who looks like they're about your age. This is Lyra, he says, introducing them with another one of those extra solid slaps on the back. They're one of our regular volunteers, and they're going to take you on a tour of the lower levels. Lyra, I want you to help Severin here get to know some of our clients and understand the more person-to-person aspects of our work here. Think you can handle that? Sure thing, boss, Lyra says. Then they give you a wave. Shall we? The two of you head out at a slow pace, Lyra chatting with you about the various clients the center has and all sorts of other things. It's too much information to hold in your head, and you resign yourself to learning everything all over again if you do pick this for your career. Still, everything seems normal until suddenly you come across a pair of Spire Guard members lounging in a hallway. Shit, Lyra mutters. They found me. Then they turn to you and speak in a low voice. Cover for me? I can't let them see me here. They start to back away without waiting for you to respond. Are they in trouble with the Spire Guard? Some kind of surge radical? They did Toxic, but a shitty remix that skips all the best parts? 0-10, because that's an affront to Britney. I'm mad about it. I'll wait for Lyra to hide and then distract the Spire Guard. I can do that. I can be a face. I have almost max communication skills. Let's go. Once Lyra is out of the way, you walk toward the two Spire Guard with your arms open and a smile on your face. Officers, you say, it's so good to see representatives of the Spire in such a lowly place as this. How's your day? We're fine, citizen. One of the Spire Guard members replies with a nod, and it's good to see a law-abiding person like yourself down here as well. He looks around the hallway, grimacing, but make sure you watch your back. Although most of the people who live in these levels are perfectly loyal citizens who have fallen on hard times, there are some radicals who would love nothing more than to hurt you. Tell me, have you heard of the Surge? You nod, eyes wide in what you hope is a convincing display of innocence. Just be careful, he says, apparently satisfied. That's all I'm saying. Once he and his compatriot leave the area, you wander in the direction Lyra headed. At first, you think maybe they just left altogether, but then you find them huddled behind a pile of debris down a narrow side corridor. They're gone, you say. Lyra sighs with obvious relief. Thanks. Then, as they stand, we'd better head back to the community center. The Spire Guard like to harass us, along with the people we look after. It's easier just to lose them in the hallways. The two of you go back to the center, and Caden sighs as you explain what happened. At least you're both okay, he says. You just nod. You can't help but notice that he didn't say anything about Lyra apparently working with the Surge. Does that mean he, too, is one of them? Or just that he's more concerned with helping people than with politics? I'm glad you're not hurt, at least, Caden says. But then he shakes his head. That certainly wasn't the introduction to our work I was hoping for, but I think you should go home for today. If you decide you'd like to do this work in the longer term, we can train you properly, and if you ever want to stop by for other reasons, you know where to find us. Thanks, you say, because you have to say something, and you head back home, leaving the two of them to their conversation. Helping those who struggle is one thing, but this isn't exactly what you expected from your day. Your encounter with the Spire Guard aside, how do you feel about the meals you cooked? I feel tired. Bone tired. All that cooking was exhausting. You're not sure you could do it every day. Thinking about everything you've just experienced, you reach your home and try to relax until bedtime. All right. You wake the next morning with a huge stretch and a yawn. Where are you going today? Okay, we're going to do the masonry one, because that one is, I'm not very interested in that. Masons use their hammers and handhelds to repair and expand Gigantea. Work that's absolutely essential to Gigantea's long-term survival. Underscoring that centrality, the Masons Guild is located in a set of rooms and storehouses about midway up. You must have walked past it dozens of times in your life, but this is the first time you're going inside. You wonder what you'll find there. Will they give you a hammer and handheld of your own? Actually have you reconfigure some part of the place where you live? You're getting anxious. Taking on something so important makes you anxious. What if you mess it up? Will you actually harm Gigantea somehow? Still, you can't avoid it. You take a deep breath and enter the Masons Guild. A woman dressed in the gray and green of the guild greets you inside with a wave. Welcome, candidate, she signs. Mixonura is going to be your mentor today. They're not here yet, so take a moment to orient yourself. Have some coffee if you'd like. She points you across the room where a well-worn sofa rests opposite a table with pamphlets scattered atop it. You can also see the promised coffee on a little sidebar, as well as what looks like a platter of pastries. You skip the coffee, you're anxious enough already, but you do grab a pastry before you sit down. What now? I'm just gonna wait, 'cause I'm not that interested. Next! You settle back on the sofa and wait, letting your mind wander. Obsess over the pamphlet titles. That's fine. What's with the names of these pamphlets anyway? It's not like Gigantea is alive. And it's kind of unsettling to think that Masons might view themselves as esoteric doctors working on an unliving patient made of bricks and other matter. Ugh. After a while, a person with a white cane walks into the room. They make their way over to the desk, where they and the desk attendant confer in a mix of regular sign and tactile sign, the attendant making hand gestures directly into the other person's hand. This isn't the first time you've seen tactile sign, but it's much less common than the usual kind. Whoever this person is, you realize, they're blind. Then they come over to you and you realize something else. They must be Mixonura, the person you've been waiting for. You today's baggage? They ask, a voice sardonic. I'll keep my thoughts to myself. I'm your mentee, yes. Mixonura sighs. Of course you are. Well, come on then. You stand and follow them through the guild rooms and back out into Gigantea itself. Are they going to say where you're going? What you're doing? It's going to be hard to learn about masonry if your mentor won't even speak to you. After you traipse down 3 sets of stairs, you finally break the silence. Can you tell me where we're going? Mixonura comes to a stop at once, as if they were waiting for this. 3 staircases, they say. Usually my mentees last much longer than that before they start talking. They poke you with the tip of their cane, which is rounder and flatter than you'd expected. Either you're bolder than most, or you drank too much of the guild's coffee. Which is it? Boulder? Definitely Boulder. The coffee one. I didn't drink too much coffee. Too much coffee drank me. The coffee one. They smirk. At least you're honest. Turning away from you, they rap at the wall. Describe this to me. It's a wall, you say. Top marks, they reply, voice wry. But I didn't ask you what it is. I asked you to describe it to me. Try again. They step back, gesturing you forward, then cross their arms and wait, their walking stick tucked into one armpit. What are you going to do to try and pass what's obviously a test from Mixonura? I will closely examine the wall and be much more detailed. Let's do that. You take your time, examining the wall from all sorts of angles and distances, even putting your face a few inches away and breathing in its scent, like sun-warmed stone mixed with a hint of earth from the garden levels. You feel a little ridiculous doing this, but figure if someone does see you, they're unlikely to say anything about it with Mixonura standing nearby, their head tilted slightly as they wait for you to finish. Once you've got a better answer, you launch into it, describing in detail the wall's texture, its scent and size, the way the masonite reflects off its surface, and anything else you can think of. Mixonura nods. Not bad, they say, and it's certainly better than it's a wall, but what if I do this? On the last word, they pull out their handheld and fiddle with the settings. The wall, so solid and unremarkable a moment ago, turns to goo, oozing at your feet like some kind of gross children's toy made large. Where the wall stood, there's now a set of crisscrossing metal bars, with a sturdy-looking pillar that vanishes up into the ceiling above. Well, they prompt. Describe it to me. Whoa, Sweet Escape, and they couldn't even woohoo weehoo? That's terrible. 0 10, I agree. That's terrible. Because everybody knows it's woohoo weehoo. That's dumb. The rest of the day passes in much the same fashion. Mixanura drags you around Gigantea, forcing you to describe completely normal bits of its walls, floors, and ceilings, then using their hammer and handheld to show you exactly how wrong you were. It's not what you thought you'd be doing today, and by the end of it, you feel like they've just latched onto the mentoring program as an opportunity to mock young people. But at the end of the day, when the two of you return to the Masons Guild, Mixanura nods and claps one hand on your shoulder. You did well today, kid. And if you want to be a Mason, we could definitely use someone like you. They press their hammer and handheld into your hands. I'd like you to have this. Consider it a token of the promise I see in you. Really? Are they messing with you? Masonry was super boring. No thanks. Sorry, you reply, trying to hand back the device. I don't think masonry is the best fit for me. They shrug. All right. Hang on to the hammer and handheld anyway, will you? You never know when it might come in handy. Now go home and get some rest. You've earned it. You do exactly as they suggest and sleep surprisingly well, exhausted by the combination of physical labor and mental activity. All right. Now the Spire Guard. Whenever I play things, I always go for worst first, saving the best for last. That's also how I eat my food too. Is that weird? I don't know. I'm one of those kind of people. Okay, the Spire Guard next. The Spire Guard are a common sight no matter where you are in Gigantea. They keep the king's peace, although whether they do so to help people live good lives or keep them in line is a matter of debate. Regardless of how anybody feels about the Spire Guard, all citizens are required to do a basic one-day training session. It helps the Guard locate new recruits or reservists and ensures that everyone is at least passingly familiar with their work. Today, you're joining a bunch of other folks your age for one of those sessions. The thought of it makes you feel bored. A whole day of physical exercise and drills doesn't sound like your idea of fun at all, but you can't get out of it, so you may as well get it over with. You sigh, then head over to where the Spire Guard training floor is located, just below the Royal Spire. You arrive a little late, but whatever. It's not like you even want to be here. Picking up your pace a little, you reach the room where the day's training is scheduled. It's full of other people around your age, all of them watching a woman dressed in Spire Guard red at the front of the room. She's lecturing them in rapid, fluid sign, her eyes roaming the assembled recruits. You've heard of this woman. Her name is Commander Pila, and she doesn't take kindly to fools or disrespect. Still, there's no way to sneak past her. How will you excuse your lateness? I apologize for interrupting for something so important. Whatever, I'm not apologizing. In case I'm late, I'll just walk in. I apologize for distracting people with my lateness. Yeah, sure, I'll apologize. I'll be polite. You step into the classroom and she fixes you with a withering glare. I'm deeply sorry, you sign, hoping your sincerity is apparent. Please forgive me for being late. Her eyes narrow, and then she nods once, firm but not angry. Sit, please. Well, the commander signs once you've seated yourself. Now that we're all here, we'll continue. As I was saying, not all of you here will serve on the Spire Guard. For many of you, this may be your only substantive encounter with one of us. So our goal is to give you two things today. The first of those is an understanding of how we work together as a team. The second is a reminder what we're here for. She turns on her heel and strides from the room, gesturing with one hand for you all to follow. Hold on, quick music check, because I feel like I'm almost done with my music. Hold on a sec. I gotta pick some music. Okay. You join the other potential recruits, following Pila into a huge room at least 10 meters tall and 100 across. All across it are various obstacles, nets, ladders, platforms, and water-filled pits. It looks like a fancy version of the obstacle course they set out during the Festival of Stories. Show me your medal, recruits, the commander signs. Meet me on the other side, and make sure you do this as a team, not as individuals. Apparently, that last instruction doesn't apply to Commander Pila. She immediately leaps into action, climbing up the nearest ladder with a nimbleness that belies her age. The long, narrow platforms don't slow her down, and she's halfway across the room before even the fastest of your fellows moves to follow. With a groan for your aching muscles, you run on the course yourself. It takes nearly an hour and several pauses when those of you better suited to this kind of activity have to stop and help others less inclined, but eventually the whole group of you reach the other side. You stand in a ragged line, every single one of you breathing heavily. Well done, Pila says, taking stock of the group of you. A fast time, all things considered, and an important lesson to you all in the importance of teamwork, I hope. Are we done then? Asks one of the other students. My welts have welts, and I want to go home. Commander Pila grins. We're not even close to done. Follow me. By the time the day is over, you feel bruised and achy in places you didn't even know could have bruises and aches. It was rough, and your initial dislike of this day's work is proven valid again and again. How do you feel now about potentially joining the Spire Guard? All that grueling physical activity. Ugh, me. That was a massive workout, and without any real purpose. You can't imagine doing that on a regular basis. The day over at last, you go home to dinner and sleep, turning the thought over in your head the whole time. The next morning, you're all set to head off to another apprenticeship, but your mothers are waiting impatiently for you in the main room, Mum giving you a look that makes it clear you've forgotten something. Something important. Morning, what did I forget? Morning, you sign. What did I forget? It's the ritual of restoration today, she replies. It happens every year after the Festival of Stories, so that the royal line can keep us safe in the future as they have in the past. Did you seriously forget about it? There seems no point in denying that you did, but you shake your head anyway. Of course not. Your mum sighs. Anyway, there'll be no apprenticeship work today, or work of any other kind. Your mama and I are going to go and watch from the docks. We can't take part officially anymore, at least we can watch. You're coming too. Mum's clearly looking forward to this, and you hate to disappoint her. Of course, you sign. Lead the way. After a quick breakfast in a more crowded than usual dining hall, you join your mothers as the three of you walk to the docks below the Royal Spire's balconies. The ritual, much like the festival and pageant, is an important tradition, and there are always some who are eager to take on the role of the vanquished gods and scream insults and mockery at the king, as well as those who show up mostly for the chorus of support that takes place after. Predictably, there are lots of folks already on site for the ritual, crowding into every available space between the ships and spires to try and get a good view. It's a bright sunny day, and the king is clearly visible on the balcony far overhead. The weather isn't always as good on the day of the ritual, which happens every year without fail. It's essential to Gigantea's survival in the World Sea, according to the royal line, and without it, the rot that the gods cast down all those centuries ago would destroy this place, humanity's last sanctuary. I wish they just stopped doing it. It's a holiday, and of utmost importance, it's a sanctioned opportunity to heckle the king. Let's be real. That's literally what it is. The best part about the ritual is that you're officially supposed to make fun of the royal line. Normally that sort of thing wouldn't be allowed at all. All the same, with everything that went down at the Festival of Stories, it's a little surprising that the ritual would go forward in such a public manner. But say what you like about the king, he's dedicated to the rights and duties of his position. He steps forward to the edge of the balcony and raises both arms overhead. The royal interpreters sign a formal "Hark ye" to signal the start of a speech. People of Gigantea, the king shouts. Oh, ad break in a minute. His voice clearly audible even so far below. Although the gods are long gone, their cursed rot survives them. Tell me, in the place of those vanquished foes, why is it that we are so afflicted? That's the cue for insults. Some people gathered in the docks shout and sign the worst things they can think of. In some cases, it's just a lackluster boo, boo. But some folks practice all year for this, and you hear a few insults you won't forget in a hurry. And then there's one person who can't even be out of creche, who signs in very vigorous motions about the shape of the king's nose and what exactly he should do with it. Wow. At your side, Mama screams and signs with the verve and vigor of someone a quarter her age. This is definitely her favorite part of the ritual, maybe the whole year. It's a bit weird, but oh well. The king lowers his hands and an unnatural silence fills the air, immediately quieting the crowd. Your mind goes foggy, but you try to concentrate. This is when the magic happens. Did ad break now? Are we ads? Hello? Are we in ads? Did I miss it? Do I wait? Are we in ads? If we're in ads, I'm gonna take a break. So I can drink water. No? Not ads? Okay. Well then, not ads. I hate this. The ads thing is so frustrating to me. I can never figure it out. Um I hear your curses and complaints, O vanquished gods, he shouts into the silence, the interpreters signing each and every word with appropriate pomp. And I tell you that Gigantea shall not fall to your rot. No, not ever. There's a moment of absolute stillness. Then a figure dressed in rags steps up onto the edge of the balcony, flanked by two burly Spire guard. This year's sacrifice, at least symbolically. Although you've seen the ritual a dozen times. Oh, there's the ad break. I'll wait. I'll hydrate while the ad break is going. Okay, my tea is done. I actually don't know how many chapters is in this. We're only in chapter 2, guys. It's pretty long. It's long story. Now let me look it up. Hold on. Do I have any thoughts on what I would like to stream on my birthday? That that's a weird question to ask me. It's so early. No, I haven't thought about that yet. Ooh, a mood board. Oh, a playlist. Let me post this in here. Boop. Mm. I like this mood board. This is basically what I was picturing, so that's cool. It's a good mood board. I like it. Nice, nice, nice. Okay. um, welcome back from ads. It looks like there are over 10 chapters of this book, so we're going to be here for some time. This is going to be like a multi-stream thing. It was a thought you had? Oh, I didn't think about it. Did you have a thought about what you think I should stream for my birthday? You oh, distracted. Stop wasting your channel points. You should put it towards the Husbando challenge. Also, reminder, there's the Husbando challenge for channel points. We have 27 days left and 11% raised right now. The goal is 66,666. channel points. We'll get it too fast. That's true. You will get it too fast. We're already at 11%. I know, and it's only been up for like 2 or 3 streams. You have a whole month. Plenty of time. Where was I? You're far enough away from where the sacrifice and king are standing that you can't tell whether or not it's actually Anon, and that makes you pretty uneasy. As he does every year, the king places both hands around the head of the sacrifice and yells once, loud as thunder. There's a pulse of concussive sound. In the old days, supposedly the person would fall all the way into the water and drown, a sacrifice in truth as well as in name. But that part of the ritual, at least, has changed. A thick cloud falls on the king and the sacrifice and dissipates a moment later to reveal an albatross, gray, white, and bulky, that stretches its wings and flaps into the world sea. Ungainly, but beautiful in its own way. There's no sign of the person who stood there before. From down here in the docks, it's like the person really transformed into a bird. A neat bit of showmanship. As the bird disappears into the distance, the unnatural silence fades and the fogginess that seeped into your mind earlier lifts. You feel lighter, at ease, as though your worries have been eased by the ritual, even though you don't exactly believe the royal line is sacred. The king looks down on his people, a nimbus of blue light around his head. He shudders uncontrollably, clearly overcome with some emotion. But you can't see his face from down here to see what emotion exactly it is, and eventually the moment passes. People of Gigantea, the king shouts, the ritual of renewal is completed, and we are safe for another year. Go now, and return to your lives. The crowd disperses, slowly but surely, and you spend the rest of the day avoiding your parents and relaxing in your room. And so, another day draws to an end. It feels a little strange, really, to have passed an entire day without working. Before this year, you were just a kid, and the day off that accompanied the ritual was nothing special. You wonder if you'll notice it more from here on out, or if you'll simply grow used to it as another part of the rhythm and timbre of life in Gigantea as an adult. Yawning, you head off to sleep. Minor checkpoint. Okay. We've got alchemy and then the archives. So let's do alchemy next. The alchemists of Gigantea use their skills to keep the city's manufactories running. These ever-present interfaces dot the walls at every level of the tower and produce everything from food to clothing and beyond. You've used the manufactories since you were a child, to the point where you sometimes forget how wondrous they actually are. But you still sometimes hear stories about alchemists using the raw materials that power them for other stranger ends. Potions and poultices and goo, like the stuff of legend from the Age of Stories. Yes, today you'll finally find out if those stories are real or fabricated. Thinking about that, you feel bored, excited, exhausted, curious. Let's go with excited. I want to know. Manufactories may be commonplace, but they're wondrous machines, like something straight out of legend. And today you'll get to see how they work, up close and personal. You head over to the Alchemist Guild with some major pep in your step. The guild is located close to the Royal Spire, in Gigantea's upper levels. You've heard lots of rumors about why that is. Some say it's to ensure that the king and those he holds dear have easy access to secret formulas and serums that extend their lifespan and give them magic powers. Others say it's the opposite, that if the things the alchemists mess with ever explode, at least it won't take out the entire tower. You enter the guild headquarters, wondering if you'll find out which of these is true, or if the location is just coincidence. The main room of the Alchemist Guild is, frankly, a mess. There's nobody in sight, and odd bits of machinery clutter the various desks and workspaces that line the room. Here, a gigantic set of gears. There, coils of tangled copper wire. On another table, a glass beaker filled with a gently bubbling green liquid that sits atop an open flame. You eagerly look it all over. A pool of what looks like water occupies half the room, although the liquid within it moves oddly, as if responding to the tide, and glimmers with an unnatural light. You realize with a start that there are no mason lights here, despite the general brightness of the room. Hello? You call out. Nobody answers. Guess you're on your own for now. Let's look at this pool. This pool looks cool. You approach the pool of liquid, but even up close, it's like nothing you've ever seen. The glow doesn't seem to be coming from underneath the surface. Rather, the liquid itself is what causes it. Also, you notice with a start, some bits of the liquid are dripping up toward the ceiling. You back away, not sure you want to get this on your skin, no matter what it is. Let's look at the beaker. As you get closer, you realize that the liquid inside the beaker isn't green. It's blue. But wait, you squint, tilting your head this way and that. The liquid inside seems to change color depending on your distance from the beaker, and the angle from which you examine it seems pretty alchemical, whatever it is. And now let's look at the gears and the wire. You've never seen gears or wire like this around Gigantea before. Is this machinery what powers the manufactories? You're not quite sure how. You don't see how copper wiring could produce any food or clothing items, no matter how much of it there is. Perhaps you'll find out later. You look around, wondering if anyone will even come to get you. Maybe they forgot. Or maybe your apprenticeship is self-guided. What will you do? Turn up the heat on the beaker, dip something in the pool, stay still, touch nothing. Dip something in the pool. Curious about what will happen, you pick up a small gear off the table. Nobody will notice if just one is missing, right? You dip half of the gear in the liquid, taking care not to get any on your skin or clothing, and then you set the gear back on the table. At first, nothing happens, but then the bit of machinery vibrates on the table with a mad clatter and floats up into the air. That's kind of cool, but you're extra glad you didn't get any of the liquid on yourself. You're starting to wonder if they maybe really have forgotten you when a half-bald man with half a beard, half a mustache, and one eyebrow strides into the room. It looks as though someone shaved the entire right side of his face and did a really thorough job. He glances at the gear, gently floating above the pool with narrowed eyes. Uh-oh. You clear your throat hastily to get his attention. Ah, he says as he sees you. You must be Severin. Excellent. I'm Alan, Master Alchemist and your mentor today. He runs one hand over his head, as if attempting to straighten out his hair, then looks at his fingers with a grimace. Does he not know he's half bald? Let's, should we tell him? Should we tell him he's half bald? He should know that, right? He grimaced. I'm pretty sure he knows he's half bald. I'll keep quiet. Let's be nice. That's right, you say. I'm here to be mentored. Great, Alan says. That's an attitude I like to see. In any case, we'd best get started. We've got a full agenda today. The manufactories in the dining hall are malfunctioning again, but first we need to tweak the goo. The goo? Alan nods, pointing to the pool. It's what makes the manufactories work. We've maintained it for hundreds of years using trade secrets passed down from the ancient alchemists. But lately it's been making things float. He looks at the gear you dipped it in it, still drifting across the room, as I see you've discovered. Now, Alan continues, we already have some pretty good ideas about what to do in this case. But since it's apprentice season, I thought we'd use it as a learning opportunity. He makes as if to twirl his mustache, then coughs awkwardly when there's no mustache on the side of the face he reached for. A learning opportunity that doesn't involve sheets of living flame. With that, he steps back and gestures toward the pool of goo. You're still so new to this, you can't imagine he expects you to solve it alone, but maybe you can show your willingness to learn by coming up with a reasonable suggestion for how to proceed. I'll dip various materials in the goo and see how each reacts. That might help. Sure, let's do that. You gather up a few odds and ends from the benches. The gear, as you already know, floats. The copper wiring does as well. Weirdly, even some regular old water floats off, making odd little bubbles in the air. Then you drop in a heavy stone. Instead of floating, it sinks straight to the bottom of the pool. Ah, you say. Looks like maybe you just need to mix it with something really heavy. To counteract the floatiness, I guess? Not a bad idea, he replies. I'll pass it along to the rest of the alchemists, and we'll let you know how it goes. We're not going to try it out now? You ask, equal parts relieved and disappointed. He shakes his head vigorously. Walls of living flame, remember? Oh. Yeah. Now you're just relieved. Your apprenticeship as an alchemist is off to a decent start, but it's not over yet. Next up, Alan says, waving you to follow him, we better fix the dining hall manufactories. It's a good dozen flights down to where the main dining hall sits, but Alan dashes there like it's urgent. Thinking of the whole living flame thing, you hurry after, wondering if you'll ever use the manufactory without anxiety again. Fortunately, nothing is on fire when you arrive in the dining hall. On the other hand, judging from the way some of the citizens are acting, they're about to combust themselves. Alan wades through them like they're little more than water, and you're not sure whether it's his speed, which hasn't slowed, or the fact that half his hair has been recently burned off that makes people quick to jump out of his way. He dives into the dining hall's back room like it's going out of style, and you've barely gotten inside yourself before he pulls you over to what you assume is one of the malfunctioning manufactories. Right, he says, waving vaguely at the manufactory's front panel. Reach on back in there and tell me what you feel. Yeah, okay. Alan grabs your hand as you reach for the opening. Spirits abroad, do you want to break all your fingers? You pull your hand back. Why would he ask you to do it if it was dangerous? Look, he says, reaching into his pocket and taking out what appears to be an ordinary screwdriver. First, we've got to open the panel. Moving as quickly as ever, he unscrews a couple of fasteners you've never spotted in all your years of manufactory use. That done, the entire front of the thing swings open like a door. What it reveals is wondrous. Inside of the manufactory looks nothing like you could have imagined. You'd always figured it was pipes and tubes, levers and gizmos, maybe some kind of Age of Stories tech that prodded and poked the raw material into whatever shape the user requested. What you see instead is a luminescent orb of some unidentifiable material, smooth and shimmering and beautiful. That's it. No wires, no tubes. How does it work, you ask? Alan snorts. At the moment, it doesn't. Remember? He reaches his hand into the orb, which absorbs it with a quiet gloop, and then he rummages around inside it, grunting occasionally. Ah, here's the problem. Clogged nodule. Fairly typical, really. He pulls out an unidentifiable clump of something and shoves it in one pocket. The sphere ripples briefly, then seems to wink out of existence. It takes you a minute to realize it's just been sucked back inside a tiny hole located just behind the panel. Alan goes to swing the front of the manufactory closed again, then pauses and looks at you with a grin. You know, while we're here, want me to show you one of our secret recipes? It's easier to make them with the thing opened up. What will you ask him to make? Something that makes me fly, something that makes me invisible, something that lets me walk through walls of living flame. No, something that lets me walk through walls. That's cool. I want to walk through walls, you say. You remember reading about that in some of the old Age of Stories legends and always thought it sounded cool. Alan laughs. Of course. Who wouldn't want to walk through walls? All right then, watch this. You watch as he opens the manufactory door wider, and there you see all the weird gizmos and buttons and tubes you'd always expected to see inside one of these things. He pokes and prods at a few of the buttons, twists a couple of gizmos, and arranges a couple of tubes, and then hands you a glass tube filled with a softly glowing liquid. Give it a try, he says. Don't worry, the effect won't last long. Figuring that he's probably not trying to poison a potential new worker, you drink the potion down. It tastes like seaweed and ginger. Ugh, yuck. And then it kicks in. You feel yourself grow insubstantial, and when you brush your hand against the table, it goes right through the solid surface. For all the world like you're an alchemist in the Age of Stories. Just as Alan promised, the effect of the potion only lasts a moment. But even when it wears off, you don't feel entirely like your old self. It's as if you've been shown how the world could be, instead of how you always thought it was. But to Alan, it seems to just be business as usual. Come on, he says, once your body's physical again. We've got a lot more work ahead of us. I hear the manufacturers in the community center are making everything they create out of tofu, he says. Again. The rest of the day is busy with repair work and troubleshooting, and you see the inside of more manufactories than you can count. Alan doesn't make you any more odd and unusual potions, but still, knowing that you can do that kind of stuff with alchemy is something, right? At the end of the day, as you head back home, you turn it all over in your head. How do you feel about alchemy as a potential career? Excited. That's cool. You could definitely see yourself as an alchemist. There's so much cool stuff involved. Freed of your apprenticeship duties for the day, you enjoy some hard-earned rest and relaxation before bed. Okay, now the last one is the archives. Today, you're going to be working in the archives under the guidance of Mixtam, the head archivist. You went to the archives a couple of times when you were in creche to check out old books and legends, but haven't ever been a regular visitor. Supposedly, people have found all sorts of odd things in its many rooms. Tales of alchemists, instructions for building archaic weaponry, hagiographies of long-dead saints. Looks this up, hold on. Is it hagiographies, Lamau? Hagiographies? Hagiographies? Hold on. Googling it. Wait, I'll click. Julian's pronunciation guide. Oh no, I cannot hear you. You're too quiet. No way. Hair geography? No way. Excuse me. No way. For real? Hair hair geography? Hey geography makes way more sense. But why is it I hate this. I hate this word. Alright, well, hair geography, apparently. Even though there's no R in that at all. Anyway, joke books and recipes for pie. If you choose to be an archivist, you'll have access to all kinds of secret knowledge and presumably numerous recipes for pie. Sounds cool. Secret knowledge, what could be cooler? You can't wait to see what you'll uncover in the archives. Mixed Tam is waiting for you just inside the entrance and smiles when you arrive. You're Severin Famo Rigel, yes? You nod and their smile deepens. Great. I've got a couple of tasks lined up for you to give you a taste of everything the archives have to offer. We're talking a little transcription, a little processing, and a whole lot of dusty books. Getting right to it then. Works for you. Mixed Tam claps their hands, apparently excited by the expression on your face. We'll start with a bit of light processing. That's brilliant. We'll have you in a back room to do the work, Mixed Tam continues, speaking over their shoulder as they lead you out of the archives entryway and down a small, tidy hallway. The room they lead you into is equally small, but far from tidy. Books and papers and other odds and ends cram every available space, save for a rickety desk wedged in between two bulging bookshelves. Processing is important work, Mixed Tam says, gesturing to the desk and then picking a sheaf of loose paper off a shelf nearby. The archives are full of information, but we've only identified a small portion of what they hold, even after all these years. Part of what you'll do as an archivist is look at the unprocessed stuff, describing it so that we know what it's about and helping us determine where best to store it. That way, if people come in with a question, we can point them right to what they need. Go ahead and work on this. Don't worry about perfection, just aim for good enough, and I'll come get you at lunchtime. With that and a wave, they leave you to it. You look down at the stack of paper they gave you. How are you going to sort through it and figure out what it's about? I'll focus on making my findings easy to communicate. I'll skim it and look for common words. I'll take my time paying special attention to every piece of paper. Wait. Stat check. I want to... Oh, I guess I should up my communication anyway. Let's do that. Let's max that out. There you go. You can't just read these things. You need to make sure that what you find is understandable by others. You come up with a system of note-taking to ensure that happens. And then you start reading the papers, taking careful notes as you go. It doesn't take you long to realize about something about these writings. Every single one of them appears to be about spirits in some way, shape, or form. The first is a folk tale from the age of stories about a woman making a pact with a spirit in the sky. The second is a loving description of ethereal creatures seen beneath the waves by a member of the fishing fleet. The third purports to be a recipe for asking a spirit to do your bidding. It's astonishingly like what you remember from that childhood experience. A slowing of your breath, followed by an abrupt clearing of your mind, to show the spirits that your thoughts are open to them. You knew the archives had a lot of odd and unusual texts, but you hadn't imagined that there'd be quite so much about spirits, especially since the king and Spire Guard frown upon discussing such things. It's meant to be bad luck at best. You've even heard some folks describe it as dangerous. By the time Mixed Ham comes back a few hours later, you've briefly described dozens of texts about spirits. Find anything interesting? They ask. Is that an odd twinkle in their eye? Are they testing you, or are you imagining it? I'll tell them about the spirit texts people deserve to know. These texts, you say, pointing to the pile, they're about spirits. Interesting, they reply. We do have some unique materials here like that, although most are much more prosaic. They're missing the point. You try again. They're part of Gigantea's heritage, you say. Maybe you could do an exhibit with them, so more people can learn about them. Well, they continue, with another decisive clap of their hands. I'll definitely keep that in mind. Now, shall we break for lunch? And then you can practice transcribing some of our more indecipherable tomes. You're as eager to get started on that as they sound. And, after the promised break for lunch, that's how you spent the rest of your day, on a massive book filled with tight-packed, crabbed handwriting, along with a pencil and a clean piece of manufactory-printed paper on the table in front of you. At first, you wonder if this is the journal of some ancient spirit user or magical researcher, but as you struggle through figuring out the first page, you realize it's just a recipe book. Less interesting by far, unless perhaps you want to make something called authentic 15th century pumpkin pie, whatever the rot-forsaken waters that is. And then the day is over. Mixed Ham thanks you for your help and asks you to consider becoming an archivist for real someday. Then they bid you a pleasant evening. You leave them there in the archive's main room with a smile on their face. As you walk slowly home, you recount the day's experiences. You thought archives work would be cool this morning. How are you feeling now? Could you see yourself doing this as a career? I could see it. There are interesting things in there. Looking through old texts might not be everyone's idea of fun, but you found it insightful. It seems like every day would involve something different at least. In any case, you've still got time to think about your options. You fall into bed once you're home, wondering what tomorrow will bring. At long last, you've completed all 5 of your apprenticeship sessions. This means today's the day. There will be an official ceremony where you'll formally select the work you want to do for Gigantea in your adulthood. It's a struggle to wake up, and you repress a yawn as you head to the common dining room with your parents. Mum signs a quick but meaningful morning your way as you join them. Clearly, she's checking in to see how you're doing. I'll let her know I'm doing fine, but without details. You don't want to stress her out, so you quickly summarize what you've been up to, emphasizing how it's been interesting, even if sometimes it's been more than you're used to. Once she's satisfied, you get yourself some food. Breakfast in hand, you drop yourself into a chair with a barely concealed scowl, hoping to avoid anything that might make this day more tense than it already is. And then it's time for the ceremony. You endure your mother's babying, and then the two of them give you a wave and head down to the docks to watch the ceremony. You and the rest of the candidates your age, of course, are going up into the royal spire and out onto one of the broad, spacious balconies that encircle Gigantea. The balcony has been set up with dozens of icons on stands, each one equidistant from the center. Each icon represents one of the trades of Gigantea seeking new workers this year, from the fishing fleet to the botanists to the costumiers and bakers and teamsters to the pages and messengers and servants of nobility and others besides. A little anxious to spite yourself, you pick out the 5 icons of trade that were selected for your apprenticeships. The Mason's Guild, represented by a hammer and a handheld. The Alchemist's Guild, represented by a liquid-filled beaker. The Archives, represented by a ribbon-tied scroll. The Spire Guard Reserves, represented by a cape and Spire Guard Red. And the Community Center. Ah! Something cornucopia. Crap. I accidentally clicked. My bad. That's also a problem with this when I accidentally click. The ceremony begins with the king himself striding with a smile out onto the balcony and giving a brief speech about Gigantea's shining future. Just like during the ritual of renewal, his words boom out into the crowd gathered to watch him. But you find later that you can't remember exactly what it was he said. Then an attendant hands the king a list of names, and he reads them out one at a time, his voice slow, sure, and sonorous. With each name, one of the candidates makes their way out next to him at the balcony's edge and receives his blessing, then walks to stand beneath one of the icons. This signifies their choice to how they'll be a productive Gigantean citizen now that they're in their adulthood. Watching gives you a strange and heady feeling, a mix of pressure, pride, and anxiety. Then the king reads out your name. Severn Famil Rigel, please rise and receive my blessing. You walk to him, feeling almost as if someone else is controlling your body. My blessing be upon you, child, the king says, for a long and happy life here in Gigantea's walls. Now, make your choice and stand with your future colleagues. I'm gonna be... Hold on, stat check. Clearly, I need to be... I'm gonna have to be an archivist, because my alchemy is terrible. But I mean, my alchemy hasn't raised because I haven't learned how to do that. So, I think... I mean, alchemy's cool, though. I'm still all communication, for sure. I... I don't know what to pick. I think... I mean, because I have high skepticism, um, then maybe I should go... I could go the archivist route, because that's where you learn more, about the history and stuff, and so I could push that route. So I think it's fine. I'll pick archivist. The archives have always been there, a part of your life you didn't think to question. You're sure the same goes for most folks in Gigantea. But in just one brief day, you've come to realize that the archives are much, much more than just rooms of dusty boxes filled with old records. They're rooms of dusty boxes filled with extremely interesting records of life in Gigantea. And you know there's much more arcane information buried deep within those box-filled rooms to discover. Secrets about the spirits, ways to ask for their help in doing your bidding. You could learn a lot looking through those boxes. Is this what you want to do with your life? Yes. Yes. Spirit use is pretty much forbidden, but researching historical records of spirit use, nobody even notices, let alone tries to stop you. The thought that you might uncover a way to use spirit magic on your own fills you with determination. Taking a deep breath, you decide you're going to step toward the ribbon-tied scroll, but that's when it all goes wrong. Uh-oh. Just as you're about to step away from the king, his face pales and he collapses all at once, falling forward onto you and knocking you to the ground beneath him. For such an elderly, frail-looking man, he's surprisingly heavy, and no matter how you try, you can't seem to shift him or help him back to his feet. Your mind races, trying and failing to figure out the etiquette for the situation. Are you meant to apologize to the king for getting in his way, or play it off like you're there to serve? The king, on the other hand, seems beyond such matters of courtly manners. Indeed, he barely seems aware of your presence. He clasps at his throat with one hand, while the other tugs at his robes, as if he's trying to loosen the clothing so he can breathe more freely. Atian, he rasps out. Atian, quickly. He's barely gotten the words out when the entire balcony quivers dangerously, and some of the barrier at its edge falls away to the docks far below. The Spire Guard have already leapt into action, some pushing the screaming nobles and apprentices inside the spire itself for safety, while Captain Atian strides over to the king. As the captain draws closer to where you and the king lie on the ground, you realize he isn't alone. He's dragging over someone who's dressed just like the stranger who bumped into you at the start of the Festival of Stories. What's more, he's pulling this person by a heavy-looking chain, which is clasped around their neck and ankles with solid-looking cuffs. You hardly need to take in their struggles to know that they're some kind of prisoner. Neither king nor prisoner nor captain seems to notice you, and you wonder what in all the spirits under the waters is happening. But before you can give voice to the question, a blue stream of light and pours from the prisoner's head and pools at the king's. The prisoner cries out and half collapses, and the king takes a slow, steady breath. In no time at all, he's up on his feet, and it's only then that he looks down at you, his eyes narrowing in speculation. What did you do? Are they all right? The king and Captain Addie exchange a glance, and then the king shakes his head minutely. My lord, the captain says, and withdraws with the remainder of the Spire guard. He carries the prisoner in his arms, and you note with relief that they seem to still be breathing. Once they're gone and you're alone with the king, he reaches a hand down to you. You take it, torn between shock and worry, and allow yourself to be pulled to your feet. But then the king's grip tightens on your wrist, pulling you in close to him so he can stare straight into your eyes. Forget about what you've seen here today, he says. His voice is mild, his manner serene, but he doesn't let go of your wrist. You're about to protest his treatment of that person, obviously a prisoner, when your mind suddenly lurches and your head spins. Everything goes black. With a groan, you sit up, stunned to find yourself on the floor before the King of Gigantea himself. The last thing you remember was receiving his blessing. You were just about to step forward and join the other new apprentices beneath the banner of the archives, and then what? There's nothing in your mind after that decision, nothing but darkness and a dizzying ache. There was a small disruption to the masonry, the king says, his voice kind as he neatly folds his legs beneath him and squats before you like a man half his age. A surge attack, perhaps. We were able to get everyone to safety, but I'm afraid you collapsed. You don't remember any of that, but it would account for the ache in your skull and for why you're on the ground. I see, you manage at last. The king smiles. Come now, he says. Your parents will be waiting. We'd best let them know you're okay. He gets nimbly back to his feet, then reaches a hand down to where you lie mildly stunned. Your head still aching, and fighting off a strange sense of deja vu, you reach your hand out towards his. Chapter 3. Okay. This is gonna be a couple of streams, guys. We just hit chapter 3. And there's like 10 chapters of this. I'm actually probably gonna call it here. Ooh, this is a good stopping point. Oof. I'm so stiff. Hold on. Okay, I'm good now. Hold on. Pause my pause. Okay. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope it was interesting. How do you guys feel about the story so far? Let me know what you think. I think it's pretty good. We'll see kind of how it goes as the plot develops. I do really like the world building in this. It's good. Um, it feels very lived in, which is nice. That's something I am really bad at doing. I don't know how to make worlds that like feel alive. They just feel kind of generic whenever I write stuff like this. Which is why I always focus on characters more than anything else. But yeah. You like this format for a stream? Okay. I mean, I have a lot of stories. A lot of stories. But this one, yeah, he made a complicated expression. It was kind of wild. I don't love that line. My yapper is a little tired, but it was fun. I definitely do. I will commit to finishing this if as long as you all are interested in it. Of course. Yeah, there really is a lot of text here. This is 380,000 words, I think, in total, not including the different like paths and stuff you can take and that sort of thing. There are several. Actually, I'm sorry, 3. Hold on. Let me pull it up real quick. I don't know if you're gonna be excited or mad. Hold on. Let me pull it up real quick. Give me a second. I gotta check so I can actually count things correctly. 1 second. There are. Hold on. Let me get it from my phone. Hang on. There's Vampire the Masquerade themed stories in here, and those are like really intense because it's Vampire the Masquerade. But I think there's 3 of them, if I remember correctly. Let me check. Where's Vampire? There are 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. There are 4 different Vampire the Masquerade themed novels, and they're all incredibly long. Um, one is first. Parliament of Knives first. Let me see. Oh yeah, this one is 570k words. Just yeah. There's a lot. This is a lot. But if I would be down to doing some Vampire the Masquerade things. That would be fun. That's something we could do maybe for October or spooky month something. Um but I hope you're enjoying the story. I like so far I'm enjoying Spire Surge and See. I do want to see how we overthrow the king and da 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 because I'm into overthrowing kings. What can I say? I tend to do that. Whenever provided with that option, I will usually choose that. Um, I've read a lot of choice of games stories, so there's a bunch of them out. But one of my favorites is definitely Tin Star. Tin Star is excellent. That one is Western themed. It's super good. Um, there's one called Bootlegger Moonshine Empire. That's kind of cool, actually. I have not seen that. That one must be newish. Of course, in keeping with Vampire the Masquerade, there's also Werewolf the Apocalypse stories too, and with choice of games, which is cool. Um, but shout out, of course, to the author who is just the coolest dude ever. Who gave me the okay to do this on stream. There will be more of it, of course. I do want to finish it on stream, so there will be more of this tomorrow for sure. I will read as much as possible, and then there's definitely going to be more of this as well. Can I save? Is the next question. I think it should auto save. It's supposed to auto save. Oh, where's my achievos? Let's look at the achievos. I've earned 2 out of 31 possible achievements. Okay. Uh-oh. There's a Chekhov's grappling gun. Yike. What else? Ah. If you choose your apprenticeship, you'll get points. I didn't get to choose. So, what happens? You can become a master user. Finish play. You can play you can die in this game? Oh no. Guys, you can die in this game. I hate it when you can die. It makes me so mad. All right, well, that's that. Okay. So, I think this is it for me right now cuz I got to eat my dinner. My dinner is cold. But I hope you enjoyed today. I hope you thought it was interesting. There will be more of this tomorrow. We're gonna continue on with chapter 3, so I'll just leave this open so I can deal with it tomorrow. Um, but yeah, that's all I got for today. Thank you for hanging out with me and for reading and stuffs. Um, hope you hope my voice acting wasn't too bad. um, there was a I'm not the best reader, I ain't gonna lie to you. Um, but I hope it was interesting at least. So I'll see you all tomorrow, and it should be fun. We're gonna do more of this tomorrow, so you know what to expect. Saturday, I am off. I may or may not show up on Saturday with more Spire Surgency because I have a big feeling we're not going to finish it. So I may show up on Saturday to finish it, depending on how far I get tomorrow. We'll see. But thank you for hanging out. I hope you had a good time. This was something really, really different than usual. So I'm glad I had people come in and out today. I was worried that nobody would want to come watch me read a really long book. But you guys seem to have liked it. So thank you, thank you. Thanks for hanging. I'll see you all tomorrow for more of this. And then maybe Saturday. And then Monday is co-working as always. Yeah. Oh, did I post my new things? Hold on. One sec. Let me look. Did I post for the new week already? Ah, yes, I will. I've got a bunch of randomy things happening. Ba 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 ba. Oh, I forgot. I have to cancel stream for next week for one of the days, but it's okay. I'll figure it out. Anyway, that's pretty much it for me for today. Thank you for hanging out. I hope you have a great rest of your day, afternoon, evening, all that good stuff. We will reconvene tomorrow for more Spire Surgeon C. So this was Spire Surgeon C Part 1. Thanks. Okay, have a good rest of your night. Thank you for hanging out with me. Goodbye. Goodbye. Bye.